to install an LED video wall, which will be used on the Dove's morning show. And we can use it to produce some new shows for the Dove in the future. Additionally, we need to replace a firewall server in our IT room, along with upgrading the television software, which runs all the programming on the TV network, along with replacing the morning show audio board. Thank you for being a partner in this unique media ministry. Together, we really are changing lives for good. So you can call anytime at 541-776-5368 or safely and securely online at thedove.us. Thank you.
Want to be part of something impactful? Rogue Valley Habitat's first ever golf tournament is teeing off at Centennial Golf Course April 25th, and the smartest businesses in Southern Oregon are jumping in. Sponsorship packages from $500 to $5,000 include course signage, event promotions, and networking opportunities. Top sponsors receive tournament team entry. Ready to be a game changer? Call Tyler Hunter at 541-261-3520 today. Rogue Valley Habitat, building community one home at a time.
Bulls, bears, and other market beasts. How can you be sure they won't eat your investments alive? I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. As you navigate the stormy seas of investing, Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
71.5 Golf Challenge arrives Saturday, May 17th, with a 4-person scramble, morning and afternoon shotguns, and a 6:30 award social. Register your team to win by April 1st for our early bird special. Score the team player pack for just $20 instead of $100 with code EARLYBIRDIE. Become a sponsor and help thousands of kids across Southern Oregon. Visit 715.org or call 541-779-3275 today. Remember, at the 71.5 Golf Challenge, your drive changes lives.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Yuba City and Northern California. Seen on KYUB 15, KKPM 28, and these Dove TV.
Well, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. Melinda is here this morning. Me, I'm like a bad habit. I keep returning.
I love this habit.
Anyway, good morning to you. Now, let me just start the show with some kind of different news. Why is Melinda here? Well, we love her and she's here, but Jerry won't be around for a little while, and I'll tell you why. The first day of spring vacation, take a look at this picture. He broke his right leg skiing.
Poor guy.
And this was the first day of spring vacation last Friday. He and his family were going to go skiing for a week. Mm-hmm. And a freak deal up at Mount Ashland when he went up to get his skis, and he thought, well, I'll just take a run since I'm here.
Right, why not, right?
Yeah, and he got off into the fog, and the rest is history. So pray for Jerry. It turned out to be quite serious. He had surgery. Okay, guys, that's enough of that picture.
Poor guy.
Anyway, he's doing fine. He's doing great. Talked to him many times, and pray for Pam.
Yes.
But anyway, he'll be out for a little while, and we're not sure how long. But, you know, when you shatter your leg, and he did shatter it, he's got a lot of plates and screws down there now, and it's quite the event. So pray for him. But in the meantime, we'll be blessed with Melinda and Paulina for a little while. So not that I'm disappointed with that, it's just that my buddy is broken.
I know. We miss you, Jerry.
Yeah, so we miss you a lot. Anyway, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. We have that for you. The weather is a couple more days of this in and out weather, cold wind. Boy, what the windstorm yesterday. Wow.
Yes.
Man, it come whooping through, knocked down power lines and all kinds of stuff. We got a couple more days of wind and rain, so we'll talk about that, and a lot going on there. Anything special?
Yes, today is National Clams on the Half Shell Day. Oh. Do you like clams?
Well, yeah.
Me too.
I like the little clams like that with some fettuccine.
Oh, yeah.
So they have to be boiled and cooked. I don't like them raw like you do oysters.
Right. Well, they can be raw, steamed, grilled, or even smoked.
Yeah.
And one of the popular on the half shell recipes originated in Rhode Island. Served as a appetizer, clams casino is a dish with toasted breadcrumbs and bacon. Well, the bacon will help, don't you think?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Bacon makes everything good.
Yeah, it's also National Tater Day.
Taters.
As in potatoes. Ooh, look at that. That looks actually really good.
Yeah.
Potatoes are quite versatile, as we know, which might explain why so many people like them. They are the #1 consumed vegetable in the United States. And when you consider how many ways we can eat over the 200 different kinds of potatoes in the U.S., we shouldn't be surprised. How do you like your potatoes?
Yeah.
So you're one of the
Anyway, I like them
like
all
that.
way. I like them
Roasted.
kind of crunchy once in a while. I love mashed potato and a baked potato like that, where you pop it open and then you fill it full of stuff. So I like potatoes.
I do too. I like the shoestring French fries, like the really thin, crunchy ones like that.
Okay.
Oh, yummy. Looks good.
All right, so that's what we got going there, huh?
Yeah.
Well, listen, Jerry is down but not out. He's doing the weather, and here he is.
With another in a series of low-pressure ridges moving across the top of our region, today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, rainy and breezy, mainly after 9 a.m. with daytime highs in the low to mid-50s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, rain showers and breezy with daytime highs in the low to mid-50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with snow levels rising to around 3,000 feet this afternoon. In central Oregon, a chance of rain and snow in near 50 in Prineville, a chance of snow, breezy near 47 in Bend, snow likely near 43 in Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, showers with a high near 53. Along the Oregon coast, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms and gusty winds and daytime high temperatures in the low to mid-50s from Coos Bay through Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms in low to mid-50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. A winter weather advisory with snow and highs in the mid-40s in the Klamath Basin. Into northern California, rain and snow, then rain in upper 40s in Wairika. Rain with the possibility of thunderstorms and gusty winds with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s for Redding, Chico, and Sacramento. In the Bay Area, rainy and breezy in mid to upper 50s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Rain with a high near 60 in San Francisco with a southwest wind gusting up to 23 miles per hour. And today in San Jose, rainy, breezy, and near 63. It's a look at your Monday weather on the Dove.
Okay, well, there's no, Jerry's not there. He probably wish he was.
Yes.
Right now, I think he looks at Mount Ashland with mixed emotion.
I bet he does.
Yeah, but anyway, it's snowing up there, and we'll keep you posted. It's supposed to be open today, then it's closed Tuesday, Thursday. We'll see how the weather goes. Okay, good stuff all the way around.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Anthony George looks at the famous statement from the book of Acts that we ought to obey God instead of man.
But let me tell you something else. Our greatest allegiance must always be to God. Our greatest allegiance. It says that the spiritual leaders of the Sanhedrin, in verse 26, they went with the officers and brought the Christian apostles without violence. They didn't want to harm them because they were afraid of the people, lest the people should throw stones at the religious leaders. And when they had brought them, they set them before the council. And the high priest asked them, saying, "Did we not strictly command you not to teach in this name? And look, you have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine, and you intend to bring this man's blood on us," talking about Jesus. But look what Peter said. Peter and the other apostles answered and said to them, "We ought to obey God rather than men." Didn't you hear what we told you? You are continuing to fill this city with this man's doctrine. What a great accusation to make. And I want you to know that's the same thing you and I should be accused of. We are filling this city with the doctrine of Jesus Christ. We're filling our state with this man's doctrine. We're filling and saturating our nation, our world, with this man's doctrine. Let me tell you, he's not just this man. He is the Lord Jesus Christ, who died and was buried and was raised from the dead. And when they said, don't talk about Jesus anymore, verse 29 in the New American says, Peter and the apostles answered. And I want you to read what's underlined on the screen. We must obey God rather than men. What a powerful statement.
Boy. So, are you prepared to do that? The world, the culture is telling you to go this way, and God's telling you to go that way.
It's tough.
It's tough, very tough. All right, good advice. Thank you, Dr. George. All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at the top stories, and there's a bunch of them this morning. First of all, it looks like kind of a mixed bag. Did you know that Elon Musk was giving away $1 million checks? And it was kind of a deal as to whether or not he was going to be allowed to do it. Was he buying votes? Who knows? Anyway, but the Attorney General in Wisconsin tried to stop him from doing it, but the Supreme Court didn't touch it and said, go ahead. So he gave away checks, and primarily the reason he's giving away checks, the Wisconsin law prohibits, offering anything of value to induce anyone to vote. However, he said this isn't the vote. This was to, it's intended to generate grassroots movement in opposition to activist judges. I have no idea where this is going to go, but it's a win for Elon. Kind of an interesting story. All right, Robert F. Kennedy. Well, he's the head of the Health and Human Services, as you know, and his whole mantra was, let's make America healthy again. Well, he's going to do it by cutting the overhead by 10,000 workers, and here's what he had to say.
HHS is a sprawling bureaucracy that encompasses literally hundreds of departments, committees, and other offices. You know how bureaucracies work. Every time a new issue arises, they tack on another committee. This leads to tremendous waste and duplication, and worst of all, a loss of any unified sense of mission. The resulting pandemonium has injured American health and damaged department morale. I have some good news, though. As part of President Trump's DOGE workforce reduction initiative, we're going to streamline HHS to make our agency more efficient and more effective. We're going to imbue the agency with a clear sense of mission to radically improve the health of Americans and to improve agency morale. We're going to eliminate an entire alphabet soup of departments and agencies while preserving their core functions by merging them into a new organization called the Administration for a Healthy America, or AHA. We have two goals. The first is obvious, to save the taxpayer money by making our department more efficient. And the second is to radically improve our quality of service. I want to promise you now that we're going to do more with less. No American is going to be left behind. Our key services delivered through Medicare and Medicaid, the FDA and CDC, and other agencies will enter a new era of responsiveness and a new era of effectiveness. We're going to consolidate all of these departments and make them accountable to you, the American taxpayer, and the American patient. These goals will honor the aspirations of the vast majority of existing HHS employees who actually yearn to make America healthy.
This is amazing. They're saying that what he's calling, this is what you call when you restructure something. He's restructuring and he's finding out there's about 10,000 people of duplication that don't need to be there. He's so right. If you ever dealt with the government, you have bureaucracy, layer after committee, after this, after that, and all of a sudden you realize, well, who's doing what? It's just a lot of people pushing paper around. The people that are complaining about this, let me just say it to you in simple terms. If your company isn't making money, you're not going to have a job. And if your agency isn't delivering what it's supposed to be, you're not going to have a job. And that's what happened here. Companies always make cutbacks because they're losing money. Agencies always has cutback because they're not doing what they call an ROI. So he's going to clean it up, and that's his heartbeat. And not to mention the fact that we haven't really heard what he's going to do with dye.
I know.
Blue dye, pink dye, red dye.
I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to offer on that.
I don't know, but the only thing I can say is that he's after it, and it's only 3 months. Give him a little time here to get his feet on the ground, but it's starting to happen. All right, in the meantime, Iran doesn't want to deal with anything, and President Trump said over the weekend that he's threatening an attack on Iran and secondary tariffs if they do not agree to come together and deal with the nuclear program. Well, the Supreme Leader said basically, have a nice day, take a hike. And so the president said, quote, if they don't make a deal, then we're willing to bomb. And there's a chance that if they don't make a deal, that I will do secondary tariffs on them like they've never seen before, even before his first term. So Iran very much on the front line of interest with the president. What's interesting about this is the president's now taking the lead on Iran, and we don't know where Israel is.
That's what I was going to ask you. What role does Israel play in this
I
now?
think Israel is very much involved. I really do. I think they know. By the way, I get a lot of military people sending me stuff that they get, which is kind of fun to read, and I enjoy it. Some of our B-2 bombers are in strategic areas over there. They have been dispatched. They're close to Iran, and these are the bombs that can go into, there's a name for them anyway, they can get down deep. And that's where they have to go to get some of these nuclear things. So in the meantime, it looks like Iran's going to be very much headlines.
And what do you think about the Iranians, the people there? Do they have enough to revolt? Do you think that they...
This will give them a chance. They don't like the supreme leader. The people in Iran are borderline civil disobedience, but they can't because they shoot you. They kill you. So they have to get rid of the supreme leader. The question is, will the bombing, if there is a bombing, is part of the attack a regime change? And I have to tell you, that's on everybody's radar and very much on Israel's radar. And that would free the people, to answer your question. Sure. If there's a regime change, the people would be very, very happy over there.
That.
All right, in the meantime, as you know, the president went through a bad week last week, but they're calling it Signalgate. Okay, Signalgate. That's where there was some military information that was shared on a Signal platform, a chat room, where high officials were talking back and forth, and somehow that chat invited a journalist from the Atlantic in to be a part of it. Now, the question we still don't know, was that mistake intentional or accidental? We don't know. They're investigating it. And they thought that this was going to be the one thing that takes the president out. Well, of all people, CBS News, you don't get any more liberal than CBS News. CBS News did a poll, and the president's rating is still 50% approval.
Wow.
That's pretty high, considering the fact that this country is very divided. So it didn't appear to...
There's a verse that says, always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that you have. There's a verse that says, always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that you have.
My faith in Jesus Christ means everything to me. Being able to play on this.
With the words, "Behold, a sower went out to sow," Jesus begins the legendary Matthew 13 parable of the sower about God's word and draws attention to the need for good soil in order to bear fruit. This question of good soil motivates and challenges every Christian parent. Can good soil be nurtured in the lives of our children? A similar question was asked by the ancient Greeks concerning virtue. Drawing upon classical traditions like the trivium and the liberal arts, classical Christian schools are coming alongside Christian parents to do just that, nurture good soil and virtue. Now in our 8th year serving Jackson County, Knox Academy, the Rogue Valley's own K-12 classical Christian school, is relocating to downtown Medford in order to better assist parents as they educate their children. We are currently enrolling students for the 25-26 school year. Visit us at knoxmedford.com for more information. Invest in a future with a strong connection to the past for good soil, deep roots, and fruit at knoxmedford.com.
Thousands of satisfied customers make Jim Clark's Consignment
Past for good soil, deep roots, and fruit at knoxmedford.com.
Thousands of satisfied customers make Jim Clark's Consignment Country the most recommended RV consignment lot on the West Coast. Even dealers recommend us. That success comes from dealing with only the cleanest pre-owned RVs at the best prices, no high-pressured salespeople, and treating customers with respect. And we've been doing this in the same location for over 40 years. Before you buy or sell your RV, see why so many satisfied customers recommend Jim Clark's Consignment Country. Family owned and operated at 1630 Rogue River Highway in Grants Pass.
All right, good morning to you. 18 minutes now past the hour on a beautiful Monday morning. Back to work, back to school, back at it after spring vacation. And yes, I just got a text from Jerry. He's down but not out. And he said we handled his absence very well. He broke his leg skiing. That's hard to get, but he said... I got to read this part of it because I said, you know, when he sees the picture of Mount Ashland, he probably looks at it a little bit different. He says, yeah, you're right. I look at Mount Ashland with mixed emotions.
How could you
He wanted to
not?
be there for the end of the season.
Oh, I know.
Well, you'll be there in spirit, buddy. Hang in there. All right, good morning to you. A couple things, some backyard news, actually state news. Oregon lawmakers now, a couple of them, Republicans, have sent letters to insurance companies asking them not to drop people's insurance as a result of the fire maps. Now, what's interesting about this, the insurance company, well, this whole issue popped up when they decided to come up with this Oregon fire map. It was extremely controversial and still is. And I don't know if it's going to go forward or not because the outcry against it has been unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And this was a brainchild of Senator Golden. And I have to say, and I know Jeff, he and I have done shows together, but this was a huge mistake. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people will starting to lose their insurance. No, it won't happen. It won't happen. Well, it is happening.
It is. It's happening to me.
It's happening. And you're in.
My husband and I. My husband's in insurance.
Yeah, and you're 3 blocks from the fire station.
And we've been refused 3 times by 3 different insurance companies.
It's just crazy. So anyway, since this came about, then the insurance companies saw this as a real opportunity to create their own fire map and start canceling everybody. Mm-hmm. Well, the cat's out of the bag, and I don't know what they're going to do with this, but apparently some of the lawmakers are asking the insurance company not to cancel insurance. Well, have a nice day. I don't know if that's going to work, but this could have been totally avoided had they approached this differently, but now it's out of the bag, and it's a mess, and who knows. I heard that the governor is thinking about not signing the bill and not going forward with the map and re-examining this. I have just simple question. Why did you ever do this map in the first place? This is, well, I don't need to go down there. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Okay. Hey, some backyard news. Have you ever been to a spaghetti factory restaurant?
I have, yeah.
Guess what? We're getting one.
I heard, yay.
Yeah, the Old Porter's Restaurant in downtown Medford was purchased by the Portland-based spaghetti factory, and it will open April 28th. And they bought the building. This is a historic building.
It is.
The old historic train station. It's a gorgeous building. And they bought it for $2.3 million. They're revamping it, and they're going to turn it into the spaghetti factory. Now, we knew this was coming, but we didn't get a date. But now they have set a date for an open date of April 28th.
That's great.
It's not every day we give attention to restaurants. But, hey, this is a good one.
Well, I'm glad to see that business came into Porter's not too long, and it seems appropriate, the style of restaurant to go in there.
They're beautiful. Mm-hmm. And the menu's great. And their bakery stuff. Have you ever seen their bakery?
It's been so long since I've been to one.
Good.
Well, I guess
so we have an option coming our way. Good stuff all the way around. All right, let's take a look at the satellite image. Good morning to you. Look at this stream of stuff. And it's coming through, and you can see a stream that's going to hit right through the center of California, and that's on and off through this week. Up above where you see the state line, you can see us. We'll be in and out of showers today and tomorrow, and then the rest of the week on, we'll start to build in the temperature department and improve in the weather department. So we'll keep an eye on that for you.
Great.
All right.
Well, next we have America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani. He weighs in on Judge Boasberg's on Newsmax's Saturday's report.
Remember, there are more injunctions against this president than any president, than all the presidents in history. And I don't know of one that isn't from a Democrat judge, maybe 1 or 2. 90% are from Democrat judges. Republican judges have ruled against it. These are just, I don't know, maybe take my word for it. I'm a constitutional lawyer forever. It was my best subject in law school, and I've argued before every court in the United States. These things are plainly illegal. This is just like the lawfare they were doing to Trump, a couple of years ago, or what they've done to me. How they can get control of these judges is frightening. I mean, can you imagine? And this Boasberg wants to give due process to non-American citizens who have raped, murdered, plundered, participated in child molesting, child kidnapping. I've gone through the records of about half of them. It takes your breath away. The ones from New York raped a 14-year-old girl several times. And then they were put back out on the street by the left-wing, crooked New York Democratic Party to do it again. He wants to bring them back from El Salvador. Does he like raping? Now, this is the same judge who didn't give due process to American citizens, one of whom was guilty of walking into the Capitol, spending about 25 minutes there, and playing some songs on a little machine. And she was convicted of disrupting and got a couple of years in jail. And Boasberg treated her like she was an animal.
Well, something's been exposed, and the lid's been taken off of something here that is kind of like the last of the left's attack against anything conservative. And who would ever believe that these district judges were strategically placed by President Biden, President Obama, and now they pop up, and you can have a district judge somewhere in the United States literally stop the president from doing things. They can jump over a governor. So the question is that the intent of a district judge and court? And so I think you're going to see this. Let me say this: it's bad, but it'll end up being good because it's exposed now. And as Rudy Giuliani said, no other president in the history of the United States has had so many injunctions filed against him as this one. It's kind of like the last attempt to stop Trump from doing anything are these district courts. I really believe you'll see a reform come here. It has to take place through Congress. It probably will. Some of these could bubble up into the Supreme Court, and a decision could be made there. I can't help but think that the Supreme Court is just absolutely shaking, knowing that some of these cases are going to come to them and they're going to have to decide. And guess the decision is not necessarily the merits of the case. The decision is going to be against activist judges. And believe me, the judiciary is very protective of itself, and this is going to be a tough one for the Supreme Court to deal with. We'll see. But as bad as this is, in the end, it'll turn around. Because now we know. Now we know who they are. We know what they're all about. We know that they are not only anti-Trump, but they're crazy. Why would you take a rapist?
Yeah, and let him back in? Bring him back here?
Send him out, get him out of here, and then bring him back and turn him loose again.
It's horrifying.
It's just crazy. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. All right, good morning to you. You ever have a baked potato for breakfast?
Can't say I
Well, you've had hash browns.
Yeah.
Now, I like hash browns.
Do you?
Yeah, see, some people don't. I like the little crunchiness of them. And just a tad of Tabasco sauce on the end. Now, Jerry's over there going, yeah.
Yeah, he would be putting a lot more on his, though.
Yeah, well, he brushes his teeth with cayenne pepper. So anyway, we'll be right back.
State Farm agent Rory Wold is here to help protect all the moving parts in your life. With home, life, and financial services, Rory and his team make it simple to bring together what matters to you.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Worried that inflation might burst your retirement bubble? I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. Helping you navigate the stormy seas of retirement, Lighthouse stands tall as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
Okay, welcome back. 1:30. Melinda's here. I'm here. Jerry's over there.
I know.
So we've announced, if you haven't heard yet, that Jerry will be out for a little bit. First day of spring vacation. He and his family were going to go skiing for a whole week. And the first day out, he had an accident and broke his leg skiing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a small break. He had to have surgery. So he's doing well. He just sent me a note, so that's good to know that he's up and at it.
Yeah.
And so we miss him dearly, but
I miss you so much, Jerry.
Yeah. But there's no way you can get to his office.
No, it's upstairs.
It's upstairs. So we'll work this out. Just give it some time, but pray for Pam. Pray for Pam. I think she's going to go to work, just leave him home. Say, forget about it. Anyway, good morning to you. All right, a lot going on in the world, and of course, things are heating up in the Middle East. Let's check in with CBN News Watch and get caught up.
This is CBN News Watch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN News Watch. I'm Ephraim Graham. I want to begin this half hour in the Middle East. President Donald Trump warns Iran if they don't negotiate things. As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, Trump's warning is the latest signal that military action by Israel and the U.S. may be the next major event in the Middle East.
Trump's warning came in an interview with NBC News over the weekend. He said, if the Iranians don't make a deal, there will be bombs, and they will be bombs like they've never seen before. Iran rejected Trump's recent offer of direct negotiations and left the door open to indirect talks. The UN agency overseeing Iran's nuclear program says the regime has sped up its uranium enrichment and now has enough that's just one step away from creating 6 nuclear bombs. In the meantime, the U.S. is noticeably building an armada of B-2 and B-52 bombers in the Indian Ocean at the joint U.S.-UK base of Diego Garcia.
Keep in mind, the B-2 bomber was essentially built specifically to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran. They have the capability of lifting what they call a massive ordnance penetrator, the largest bunker buster bomb the United States possesses.
CBN News military analyst Chuck Holton says President Trump's statements are unprecedented.
The real question is, President Trump has said that if Iran does not come to the negotiating table within 2 months, that there will be military strikes. He said that repeatedly, not even equivocating at all. That there will be military strikes on Iran. That's something the United States has not done before. So this would be pretty historic.
Iran announced they would attack the base if the U.S. takes military action against Iran. On Sunday, Iran's supreme leader called for the destruction of Israel.
It's a religious, moral, and human duty for everyone to work toward removing this wicked criminal entity from the region.
In Jerusalem, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sent a message to 3 major terrorist enemies.
Regarding Hamas in Gaza, the military pressure works. Regarding Hezbollah in Lebanon, there is very firm enforcement, very firm, without compromise. Regarding the Houthis, I greatly appreciate the action of the United States, our ally. They are handling them very strongly.
And Chris Mitchell joins us now with more. So, Chris, what are the challenges of an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities?
Well, first of all, they're buried so deep underground, Ephraim, and that's why the B-2 bombers are so important. The ones that Chuck mentioned in our report, there were 30,000-pound bombs. They're about 20 feet long, 3 feet wide. They can go through about 200 feet of rock. And the other reason, the other challenge is that the nuclear facilities of Iran are spread throughout the country. And why is that? They know what happened in 1981 and 2007. In 1981, Israel destroyed it was the Iraqi nuclear reactor at Osirak. And then in 2007, Israel destroyed the Syrian nuclear reactor. And so that's why they have spread all their nuclear facilities throughout the country. So that combination of being spread throughout the country and then being buried underground are two major challenges for any attack by the U.S. and or Israel. The good news for Israel and the U.S. is that last year, Israel destroyed much of Iran's air defenses, and also they've destroyed much of Syrian air defenses last year. So they won't have the same kind of air defenses that you would have expected just about a year ago. Right now, we're looking at a 2-month deadline expiring from President Trump that could expire within weeks. And as we said in our report, the IAEA says that Iran is really closer to military-grade uranium, and it could have a bomb, or at least enough nuclear material for a bomb within days. So, Ephraim, the race is on right now in the Middle East.
Indeed it is. What kind of retaliation could Iran take if Israel and the U.S. attack?
Well, ballistic missiles, they just released a video of an underground missile city. It's quite a very stark underground missile city. It's huge. But the question is, Ephraim, they've already attacked Israel twice with ballistic missiles. And actually, both of those attacks against Israel were spectacular failures. They say they're going to hit Diego Garcia if the U.S. attacks. And that may be too far away for Iran's ballistic missiles. Also, it seems like the U.S. is moving anti-missile systems into the area. The danger, and we talked about this with our interview with Chuck Holton earlier today, the real danger may not be the ballistic missiles, but it could be terror attacks in the U.S. It's known that there are sleeper cells that Iran has placed within the U.S. They could alert those, and that could be a part of the danger. The other danger could be is cyber warfare to U.S. infrastructure. So those are all part of what may happen if there is a joint U.S.-Israeli attack against Iran's nuclear facilities. Ephraim, something that we've been talking about, reporting about literally for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this escalates. From what I understand, the military buildup in that part of the world is significant, and the capabilities of the various assets they're putting in there, from ships to aircraft, doesn't suggest that they're going to just, take out a police car. This looks like it's going to be significant. All right, well, pray for that, all right? All right, good morning to you. Happy Monday, back at it. Let's check out the weather, and here's Jerry.
With another in a series of low-pressure ridges moving across the top of our region, today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, rainy and breezy, mainly after 9 a.m. with daytime highs in the low to mid-50s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, rain showers and breezy with daytime highs in the low to mid-50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with snow levels rising to around 3,000 feet this afternoon. In central Oregon, a chance of rain and snow in near 50 in Prineville, a chance of snow breezy near 47 in Bend, snow likely near 43 in Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, showers with a high near 53. Along the Oregon coast, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms and gusty winds and daytime high temperatures in the low to mid-50s from Coos Bay through Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms in low to mid-50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. A winter weather advisory with snow and highs in the mid-40s in the Klamath Basin. Into northern California, rain and snow, then rain in upper 40s in Wairika. Rain with the possibility of thunderstorms and gusty winds with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s for Redding, Chico, and Sacramento. In the Bay Area, rainy and breezy in mid to upper 50s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Rain with a high near 60 in San Francisco with a southwest wind gusting up to 23 miles per hour. And today in San Jose, rainy, breezy, and near 63. It's a look at your Monday weather on the Dove.
Hi, good morning to you. There is a little bit of a picture of Mount Ashland. It's snowing up there. You can tell it's been snowing a lot because you can't even see anything in the parking lot. A few vehicles. And the groomer is on the side of the hill doing some grooming, so it's supposed to be open today. We'll see how that works out as we head down towards, a couple more weekends to get it through. All right, good morning to you.
I have former New York mayor who says he knows who's behind the Tesla attacks. And it's the same people who are behind the anti-Semitic protests on college campuses. Here is Newsmax Saturday's report.
No, they've gone from the most extreme misuses of our court system, crimes to frame people, prosecuting innocent people, including me and Bannon and President Trump. They attempted to kill him. And now they're going to straight out and out violence. This is a racketeering case for the top echelon of the FBI. The FBI should do to this what I did to the mafia. They should put together a task force of FBI agents, local police, and the best Justice Department lawyers they have who understand the intricate RICO case, and they should go after these people. And here's who I want to get to. You're not going to fool me. This is being funded. It's being funded by the same people who funded the destructive rallies of 2020, which made January 6th look like a peaceful protest. These are the ones who have protested and done all of the anti-Jewish insanity that we've been going through. They're making our country into an anti-Semitic country. The money is coming from the same group of people. They know who they are. I know who they are. I could catch them. And RICO would take all their damn money away from them.
I think what he's suggesting here is probably what's brewing inside the FBI and the DOJ. The question is, they don't have the luxury of just doing something without it absolutely being thought all the way through. And I think that they are strategizing, and they will move. We'd like to see it done today. Won't be done today. But they're trying to figure out a way to circle the wagons, and I think they will. It's exposed. Now we know. It's obvious that the anti-Semitic movements across the country are being paid for. And when you see, now they're getting videos of these people actually keying these Teslas. I saw one over the weekend where the guy took his four-wheeler and ran right into the door of a Tesla truck. Isn't it interesting that they're damaging somebody else's property?
Yes.
They're not hurting Elon Musk.
No, not at all.
They're hurting either a dealership or the person who owns that Tesla.
Sure.
And they're trying to drive the value of the company down. And they're trying to, send a message. It won't last. They'll get caught. They'll do the RICO thing. They'll find out that there's money behind it. They'll tie it all together. It's just a matter of time. All right, good morning to you. Well, here's one for you. Back to Newsmax this morning. Today, by the way, is a big day in Newsmax. Newsmax company went on the New York Stock Exchange today. It opens up today, and the B stock now is available. I'm going to have Chris Ruddy on. He's the president of Newsmax. I just sent him a note. He wrote me back this morning, and I congratulated him on his opening day at the Bell. I wonder if he's going to be there and ring the bell. He could be. Anyway, a growing organization doing a great job. Well, on their program called Wake Up America, they had Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Boy, she is a hawk. She's a go-getter. Anyway, she went after the violent rhetoric of a representative in Texas by the name of Jasmine Crockett. This woman went after the governor so disrespectfully. I don't know. She could be censored on the House floor yet. But here's Marsha Blackburn's response.
It is so important that we stand up and support Tesla drivers and owners, and also make certain that people know we stand against this type of political violence. When you are seeing this take place, it is so upsetting to so many people. And bear in mind, your Tesla protesters, as they are are doing this because they are upset with Elon Musk, who is leading the Doge effort in the U.S. House and Senate and White House, the executive branch. And we are making those cuts that they want to see made across every agency and saving the taxpayer money. People are tired of a wasteful, out of control government with out of control spending, and they want this to be reined in. That is what we are doing. And Elon Musk is a big effort of that. And think of it this way. People that are protesting him are protesting saving your taxpayer dollars and providing good stewardship of those dollars.
Yeah, it's kind of hypocritical to see the left going after Tesla when it was the answer to everything they ever voted for in the way of EVs. All right, good morning to you. Let's see here. It is a nice day in the neighborhood because it's Monday. We'll be right back.
Just keep pushing ahead. Yeah, the new has come. All the old is dead. Just keep moving on. Keep your eyes on the prize. And that word in your heart. Yeah, we'll be all right.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Don't miss this. After being stripped, beaten, locked, and left to suffer, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God. They chose to praise God in the middle of horrible circumstances. If we're worshiping God with resolution today, we will learn to worship God in persecution tomorrow. We need to learn how to worship God. Know this, when you come to church every Sunday, this is a rehearsal. We're learning to praise God, not just for now, but for the days coming when we will not need praise just for our own edification, but for our own protection. Praise is a weapon. You and I get to choose how we respond to persecution. We can respond in anger, or we can resolve to worship and amplify the values of God's kingdom. When the time comes, I pray that you and I will have the courage to make the right choice. And we resolve to worship even in the midst of mistreatment. God will get the glory, and victory will be ours.
Okay, welcome back. A quarter before the hour on Back at It Monday morning. And, well, you know, the Snow White flop. This is really kind of sad because they produced this movie. Of course, it was Snow White redone in a modern way. It was woke. The main actress was woke. I mean, all these things. And it ended up being a box office flop before it even was released. And so you have to ask the question, is Disney tone deaf to the masses? Well, Kirk Cameron, as you know, he's a veteran actor and a producer. He weighs in on this, and he thinks they are.
Apparently, Disney is just not listening to the message. When you go woke, you go broke. Yes, Disney and Snow White are continuing to go down a road that parents don't want. I mean, trust matters to parents. And when you take a beloved movie like Snow White and you strip it of what is true and what is good and what is beautiful, and you start replacing it with actors and other values that are going against all of that, parents are going to start looking for alternatives. At the end of the day, this is a business. And you would think, well, but you know, why doesn't Target switch all their stuff around? Why do they still offer, you know, tuck pockets for girls' bikinis? Right? Like, that doesn't make any sense when the parents don't want that and they're not showing up to buy that stuff. Well, when you're funded by great big funds like BlackRock and State Street and all of this other stuff, you can see videos where they're saying, look, there's a bigger financial loss for companies than just the customer not buying their stuff. And that is that their investors, their funders are telling them, we want these values pushed from the top down. And I suspect that that's what's going on. Now, you can't do that forever. If ultimately you can't sell your movies in the box office, well, then you've got to come up with a different strategy eventually.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I don't know what it's going to take for Disney to get turned around. Target, still doing its crazy stuff. People aren't buying it. The pushback is occurring. There's a sociological term to this called fourth turning. It's happening. So the only thing I can say is that have a nice day, Disney. When are you going to realize that Walt would come to town and fire all you guys?
I know. I bet he would just...
Crazy. All right, coming up, I got some great... We're going to go back to Jerusalem live a little bit later on this morning. We're going to have Ruthie Bloom back with us. And she was inside Netanyahu's office. Now she's a reporter for the Jewish News Syndicate. So we'll talk to her live from Israel this morning as it relates to the Middle East, coming up in just a little bit.
Great. Well, we're going to look at Ronald Reagan's Presidential Library's Air Force One Pavilion, where you can walk around the actual Air Force One, tail number 27000. Here it's shown by a representative of the library.
Well, this is a very special treat. When I was growing up, and it wasn't too far from here, I never dreamed that I'd be flying into Decatur on Air Force One. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, there wasn't an Air Force One.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and welcome to the Air Force One Pavilion at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. I am so excited to take you on a quick tour of this extraordinary building, where history literally takes flight. This 87,000 square foot space is home to the iconic Air Force One, tail number 27000, the plane that served 7 U.S. presidents from 1973 to 2001. This plane flew over 1 million miles, and President Reagan flew on board it for over 660,000 of those miles, visiting 26 foreign countries and dozens upon dozens of domestic trips. Just imagine how many historic moments happened on board this plane. Fun fact, on July 4th, 1984, President Reagan started the Pepsi Firecracker 400 stock car race during a phone call on board Air Force One.
All right, gentlemen, start your engines.
After the plane landed, he actually attended the end of the race. Now you get to step into this legendary and historic flying White House and make memories of your own. And the coolest part? This isn't just a static display, it's an experience. We tried to keep everything as authentic as possible. The original plane's air conditioning, it's still running. The 2-degree upward tilt of the plane, that's so when you're on the plane looking out the cockpit window, it looks like you're gonna fly and take off. From the cockpit to the presidential seal on President Reagan's belt buckle in the stateroom to the rear galley, every detail is a piece of history. Galleys on this plane include the communications center, where you could call anyone in the world, President Reagan's stateroom, Mrs. Reagan's stateroom, a boardroom, a staff and guest compartment, and the seats for the media. Don't forget the front and rear kitchen galleys that made fresh meals for everyone on the plane. Why the chocolate cake? Because President Reagan wanted to make sure that if he ever found out someone on the plane was celebrating a birthday, he would always have a cake on board to celebrate. But wait, there is still so much more to see. In addition to Air Force One, we have a Marine One helicopter, a presidential motorcade, and a stunning mural depicting the history of presidential aircraft. It was this helicopter that flew President Johnson from Andrews Air Force Base to the White House when he arrived from Texas in Air Force One 26000 with President Kennedy's casket. When Air Force One landed, President Kennedy's casket was removed from the plane and taken away by ambulance. President Johnson then exited Air Force One and gave a short press conference before boarding this helicopter. And our motorcade? Well, it includes this authentic 1983 Cadillac Presidential Parade Limousine, which joined President Reagan's motorcade detail in January of 1984. It also includes this 1986 Chevy Suburban, used by the Secret Service as a follow-up vehicle, and a 1985 sedan and 2 motorcycles from the Los Angeles Police Department.
You know, as I often say when we're taking off in Air Force One, it's great to get out of Washington and back to where the real people are.
It's really a worthwhile library to go visit. Have you seen it?
No,
I have.
You have?
Yeah, we were just down there Christmas a couple years ago, and the size is not justified in the video. That room is enormous, where it has the Marine helicopter and the Air Force One and the motorcade, all that. It's amazing. They had to bring in the plane and then build the building around it.
Yeah,
it's neat.
The pictures of them dismantling the Air Force One and bringing it up in pieces and then putting it back together again was amazing. I'd love to do it. I also know that it kind of reminds me of the communication center in Jerusalem. It's one of the most well-equipped places. You can go there and do a show. We could literally, if we wanted to, and we had the means, we could apply to do a week of our show from there. On that platform, there's a platform up there. I've been shown the schematic of it.
Okay.
Where you could sit there and do the show with Air Force One in the background. They have the lights and everything. All you got to do is show up and plug in, so to speak.
Oh.
But no, I'd like to go. It's on my bucket list. I just think, and by the way,
it's well done.
The fire came right to the edge of it.
It did.
Last
oh my
year.
goodness, it did.
Came right down to the edge of it. And both the president and the first lady are entombed there, so it's quite a place.
There's also they have a piece from the Berlin Wall there that we saw.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and that's extremely touching to see.
Oh gosh, it's just
it's worth visiting. It's very well done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff all the way around. Well, like I said earlier, we're going to go to Israel. We'll talk to Ruthie Bloom from the the Jewish News Syndicate. We'll have that for you because there's a lot going on as it relates to Iran this morning. I'll have Anir Solomon with us, the executive director of the pro-life organization Inside Israel. We'll be talking about their work inside Israel and in and around Jerusalem. And also, I just want to remind you and say thank you for the many of you who have already responded to our spring boost.
Yes.
The Dove is in the middle. I don't know if you guys got any of that B-roll in there, Scott, but we're in the middle of a remodel. And we actually had budgeted for this, and we've been in this building 11 years. And so what we're doing now is we have had to improve it. We had to finally insulate it properly for noise. That's what's going on. If you see that video there. We had to reframe inside the building to do this. This is all underway as we speak. In fact, the electricians will be in today. And this is a big, big project so that we can finally soundproof the building and weatherproof it correctly. We have a lot of work. This is our IT room. This is the room that makes everything happen throughout this network. Well, when you take on a project this size, there's always things that pop up. And we have about 6 or 7 pieces of equipment now we're asking you to help us with. It's a little over $100,000 worth of equipment. And it just doesn't make any sense, quite frankly. I don't want to say this cautiously. It doesn't make sense to put old wine in new wineskins, so to speak. And so we're going to have to replace some of this equipment. So if you got our letter or you got our e-blast, pray about what the Lord would have you to do. Our goal is a little over $120-something thousand. I can't remember the figure right now. And it's about 6 pieces of very expensive pieces of equipment. In fact, over the weekend was a classic example. Our whole network went down for about 3 hours. And that's a classic example of some of the stuff that we have to improve. So you can call anytime at 541-776-5368. You can see there we have to replace a firewall, which is a huge security system. Our upgrade for live guests, we're being forced to do this because Google bought the equipment that we were using and they're no longer going to support it. So we had to replace equipment in order to put people live on the air, which is kind of crazy. We have to redo our traffic system, things like that. So pray about it. You can call us anytime at 541-776-5368 or safely and securely online at theDove.us. And as I always say, don't take from your church or any other ministry that you're involved in, but if you feel led to help us, please call us.
Get ready for fun at Rogue Ski Shop Think Snow Sale. Boulder Gear clothing now 20% off. Goggles, adults starting at $29, kids starting at $26. All Scott gloves 20% off. If you ski or ride, it's time to slide into Rogue Ski Shop Medford.
Welcome to Rise Direct Primary Care. Imagine a healthcare experience where you're known by name, cared for like family, and treated with compassion. How is that possible? With an affordable, flat monthly membership, you receive unlimited primary care and minor urgent care visits. No insurance needed. At Rise Direct Primary Care, we offer a friendly, affordable healthcare experience where you get a whole hour with your provider. Located in Central Medford and accessible by phone or text, we can typically get you in the same or next day. We prescribe urgent care medications directly from our office, saving you a trip and wait time at the pharmacy when you'd rather be at home getting better. Personalized medical care with a human touch. Rise Direct Primary Care is all about healing the sick with compassion and keeping the healthy healthy. Rise Direct Primary Care. We're here for you. Visit risehealthdpc.com or call or text us 541-827-8603. 541-827-8603.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
The Dove is upgrading our studios. For the first time, weather and sound insulation, air conditioning, and we're enlarging our studios to produce more local shows. It's been budgeted, but we also need some much-needed equipment to complete the remodel. Our goal is $128,853. Will you prayerfully consider helping us during our spring boost? You can call anytime or donate online safely at thedove.us. Thank you for helping the Dove change lives.
The Bible says sin is pleasurable for a season, but afterwards comes death. So the devil comes, he offers his good wine, if you will, up front, and then you pay the price for it. God says, for you, the Christian, the best is yet to come. Just keep following me and trusting me, and you will see.
Preaching the gospel and equipping the saints in a way that only Todd Friel can. Wretched, weekdays and weeknights on the Dove TV, encouraging and informing.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove on this Monday, and Melinda is back.
I'm back.
Good morning to you, and I'm like a bad habit, I just keep showing up. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Monday. Back at it. Back to school. Back to work. Back everything after spring vacation. A couple of more days of leftover weather a little bit from what should have been nicer through the weekend. But anyway, warm weather is certainly in the forecast. Let me just say at the top of the show today, there's a reason why Melinda's here, even though we're delighted and we love her. But our buddy Jerry is going to be out for a period of time, and the reason being, there it is. The first day of spring vacation, Jerry breaks his leg skiing. Now, this is like the ultimate wham bam.
Yes.
And there he is in ER. Since then, he has had surgery. He's got a lot of plates and screws in there. He shattered it. The very first day of spring break, he was going up to get some stuff out of his locker at Mount Ashland because they were going to go skiing in another resort for the week. And he thought, well, I'm here. I'll just take a couple of runs, And he gets off in the fog, and he had an accident, and down he goes. He's down but not out. He's doing good. We've talked to him on several occasions, but pray for him. This is painful. And I don't know if he's in the angry stage yet. Sooner or later he'll get angry.
Frustrated, I'm sure.
Pray for Pam. But anyway, that's why Melinda and Paulina will be here for several days as we try to figure out.
Jerry.
Yeah, we do. All right, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. We'll get to that. The weather changing. We'll talk about that. But anything special today?
Today we have Dr. Anthony George. He wants you to know that no matter what seems to have you trapped or bound by, God is bigger than all those things, and he can set you free.
And here in the book of Acts, the power of Jesus Christ is throwing open prison doors. And there is someone here today, and you're living locked up in a prison, it may not be a literal prison. We had in our 845 service a young lady who committed a crime and was sentenced to serve her time in prison, and she served most of it. But while she was in there, the Lord got hold of her life and drew her to Jesus. And she came and met with me, and she's attending our church now, and she's wanting to share her testimony and start sharing the Word of God. And she says, I'm so disqualified to be used by God because of my record. I said, you don't understand. You're more qualified now than ever to tell people what God can do. God can set the captive free. But there are people who are bound with their fears and their anxieties and their addictions and opposition and constraints in their relationships. And what we have to know is even though we're confined for the moment, God has the power to open prison doors and set us free. If we will trust Him, we know He's able to do it. Don't ever think that what is keeping you bound is greater than the God who has saved you. God is greater than anything you're dealing with today. He can set you free. Amen.
Amen. It's so true.
All right, good stuff. Well, like I said, Jerry is down but not out, and here he is doing the weather.
With another in a series of low-pressure ridges moving across the top of our region, today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, rainy and breezy, mainly after 9 a.m. with daytime highs in the low to mid-50s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, rain showers and breezy with daytime highs in the low to mid-50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with snow levels rising to around 3,000 feet this afternoon. In central Oregon, a chance of rain and snow in near 50 in Prineville, a chance of snow breezy in near 47 in Bend, snow likely near 43 in Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, showers with a high near 53. Along the Oregon coast, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms and gusty winds and daytime high temperatures in the low to mid-50s from Coos Bay through Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms in low to mid-50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. A winter weather advisory with snow and highs in the mid-40s in the Klamath Basin. Into northern California, rain and snow, then rain in upper 40s in Wairika. Rain with the possibility of thunderstorms and gusty winds with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s for Redding, Chico, and Sacramento. In the Bay Area, rainy and breezy in mid to upper 50s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Rain with a high near 60 in San Francisco with a southwest wind gusting up to 23 miles per hour. And today in San Jose, rainy, breezy, and near 63. It's a look at your Monday weather on the Dove.
Okay, and there's the Monday picture of the beautiful Mount Ashland. And you can tell they've had a lot of snow through the evening. Quite the storm yesterday. Wind was blowing things all over the place. And you can tell by the parking lot with that much snow in it. Gorgeous up there. I'm sure Jerry's looking at that this morning with mixed emotions. So we'll keep you posted on that. Anything special today?
Yes, today is National Clams on the Half Shell Day.
Okay, I think.
Yes, if you're a clam lover, the best variety of hard-shelled clams are served in the half shell is the top neck, but you will find recipes using little necks and cherry stone as well. The clams can be raw, steamed, grilled, or even smoked. Are you a fan?
Not of the raw.
Yeah.
I've had them, steamed and then in fettuccine or something like that, which is good. A little hot sauce on them. But they're kind of like an oyster, raw.
Last time I had them raw in Saint-Tropez, France, many, many years ago with my sister, and that was good enough for me. Yeah.
Were you able to chew it once? Or did it just slide down?
Oh, I know. Well, the clams are smaller than the oysters, right? We also had oysters.
Yeah.
Those I find harder to eat, but I know some people love them.
Okay.
It's also National Tater Day, so get out those potatoes and let's see. We can bake them, we can boil them, we can fry them, we can mash them like that. I like having my mashed potatoes on top when I make my shepherd's pie, cottage pie.
Ooh.
Which sounds really good for a rainy day like today.
There you go.
How about you?
Taters. Well, I like potatoes, just about any way you can do it. Double baked.
Double baked, yeah.
Yeah. A baked potato. I like them like that where they're kind of crunchy.
Roasted.
Yeah, roasted. So Anyway, good stuff. All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories today. And one of them is kind of an interesting story. As you know, Elon Musk was giving away $1 million checks and in Wisconsin. And the attorney general there said, well, you can't do that. He said, I'm not buying votes. I'm just, the money is intended to help people fight against activist judges. I thought, man, that was a tough one. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the Attorney General said no, but the Supreme Court of Wisconsin overruled. I shouldn't say overruled, just didn't take the case. So they supported the act. So he gave a couple of $1 million checks away.
Isn't that something?
Elon, he's an amazing guy.
I know.
All right, the other story is RFK Jr. You know, now he's Secretary of the Health and Human Services Department, and he's looked through the agency and saying, how do we make America healthy again when there's just layers and layers and layers of committees and people and bureaucracy? We got to streamline this, and here's what he had to say.
HHS is a sprawling bureaucracy that encompasses literally hundreds of departments, committees, and other offices. You know how bureaucracies work. Every time a new issue arises, they tack on another committee. This leads to tremendous waste and duplication, and worst of all, a loss of any unified sense of mission. The resulting pandemonium has injured American health and damaged department morale. I have some good news, though. As part of President Trump's DOGE workforce reduction initiative, we're going to streamline HHS to make our agency more efficient and more effective. We're going to imbue the agency with a clear sense of mission to radically improve the health of Americans and to improve agency morale. We're going to eliminate an entire alphabet soup of departments and agencies while preserving their core functions by merging them into a new organization called the Administration for a Healthy America, or AHA. We have two goals. The first is obvious, to save the taxpayer money by making our department more efficient. And the second is to radically improve our quality of service. I want to promise you now that we're going to do more with less. No American is going to be left behind. Our key services delivered through Medicare and Medicaid, the FDA and CDC, and other agencies will enter a new era of responsiveness and a new era of effectiveness. We're going to consolidate all of these departments and make them accountable to you, the American taxpayer, and the American patient. These goals will honor the aspirations of the vast majority of existing HHS employees who actually yearn to make America healthy.
Well, we'll see how it goes. He's going to do it, but I think he explains it so well that he gets in there, and if there's a new issue, they form a committee, and the committee's got to have support. And that's how bureaucracy just kind of breeds itself into oblivion, and that's what's happened here. But they're saying that the initial, if I can say, reorganization is going to result in approximately 10,000 people being laid off. That's how big an agency can become, you know. It's pretty simple. If your company isn't making money, cuts are made. And these people are not only not being efficient, they're not delivering the goods. They got so tied up. So anyway, I don't know when he's going to attack red dye.
I can't wait for that one.
Blue dye and sugar and all this and that.
Yes.
I don't know. All right, the other story is President Trump said over the weekend to Iran, either you come to the table and make a deal or get bombed. Now, this is a growing story this morning as we speak, and we'll have more on this from CBN Newswatch coming up in just a few moments, but this is big. And the question is, what is happening here? Well, Iran does not want to talk about nuclear reduction. I can't help but think that the president and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are on the phone constantly.
Sure.
This is the first time we heard that America may be the initial response to Iran's nuclear program and not Israel, or is a co-joined effort, who knows. But the bottom line is both Israel and America said, and I will say this, that even other Eastern countries have said Iran should not have the bomb. So we'll see where this goes, but it looks like there's going to be some kind of action, could be soon. By the way, our military buildup in the Middle East around Iran is significant. We'll keep an eye on that. Well, the other thing is Signalgate. That was the big story last week, where apparently there was this chat room by being hosted on the Signal app, and a lot of military people, the vice president, the secretary of defense, and others were chatting back and forth about their action against the Houthis in Yemen. And somehow, a journalist from Atlantic Publishing got involved in this chat. The question that has not been answered yet is, was the journalist being invited intentional or accidental? Have not heard this. But anyway, the left tried to turn this into something huge, and even the Atlantic journalists tried to make it more than it really was. Well, anyway, they thought this is sure will take the president out. Well, they did, of all people, CBS. Now, you don't get any more liberal than CBS, who's lost all credibility. Their own polls shows the president is still holding at 50% approval rating. That's still pretty high, considering everything that's going on. All right, those are some of the big stories as we go look for a baked potato. We'll be right back.
Leave your side and don't go thinking you're the only one that can get it right. Yeah, you got my love.
For a free copy of The Word for You Today Quarterly Devotional, visit theDove.us.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hey, this is Ed, co-owner of Visiting Angels. To continue to serve our seniors, we need more caregivers with a heart to serve. Our mission statement is honoring the art of giving, which means we honor you, the caregiver. We know it's our people that make Visiting Angels the best in-home care provider and a great place to work. Come be our next amazing caregiver. Give us a call or apply online. At Visiting Angels, we're committed to you because we honor the art of giving.
The Dove is upgrading our studios. For the first time, weather and sound insulation, air conditioning, and we're enlarging our studios to produce more local shows. It's been budgeted, but we also need some much-needed equipment to complete the remodel. Our goal is $128,853. Will you prayerfully consider helping us during our spring boost? You can call anytime or donate online safely at theDove.us. Thank you for helping the Dove change lives.
Good morning to you. 1:15 on a beautiful Back at It Monday. I hope your spring vacation was full of fun.
Yeah.
Things to do. The weather wasn't too cooperative.
Well, the first half was nice.
Yeah, we did. We had warm weather. Then we ended up with rain and wind. That windstorm yesterday came through here. Man.
It was something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty wild through there. So anyway, back at it here. Some state news. It looks like Oregon lawmakers now are asking some insurance companies not to drop people because of the result of the fire map. Now, first of all, this whole fire map thing started within our own legislature, primarily sponsored by Senator Jeff Golden out of Ashland. I know Jeff. He and I have done shows together, but the point is, this one was really bad. This whole thing was bad. And it just sparked, and your insurance won't be discounted. Well, they were. Companies were dumping people's insurance. Here you are.
Yes.
You're literally 3 blocks from the fire department, and your house didn't qualify.
No.
We got the warning. Jerry got the warning. A lot of people who live outside this proposed map. Well, the proposed map, state map, is still hanging in the legislature as to whether or not it's going to be implemented. Well, that opened the door for the insurance company to create their own map, and they did. And they're canceling people left and right. So a few representatives, senators there in the Bend area, in the Powell Butte area, are asking insurance companies not to do it. Well, this whole thing could have been avoided had they looked at it more, I would say, fairly. But this is really bad. And it was sparked by somebody trying to control everything. We'll see where this ends up, but So legislators are telling, requesting the insurance companies not to cancel. The insurance companies saw what the state was going to do, and they thought, well, let's create our own map. Now you're in this fire map war game going on, and who's the loser?
We are.
The residents are.
Yes.
Across the board. All right, in our own backyard, kind of some fun news and delicious news. Okay,
Yay.
A little backyard bragging. We like to do that. Well, guess what? The old train station, the historic train station downtown Medford, was bought by the spaghetti factory, the old spaghetti factory, for $2.3 million, and they plan to open up April 28th. Well, this is big news for us in our backyard.
It is.
So,
it is.
You know, Porter's was there for a long time. They closed up, and the building is so iconic. I love the building.
And I think that this restaurant is the perfect fit to go in there.
It is.
Yeah.
The menu's great, everything. So apparently they bought the building, and they're going to go at it and turn it into the spaghetti factory. It'll be a huge success. The problem is, there's a problem.
What?
Where do you park?
There's a little parking lot next door, right next door to it.
Yeah.
And there's some street parking because, you know, they have the other restaurant across the street.
Yeah, you just got to walk a little bit. But you can get in there. It's going to be good. You're going to love it.
Figure it out.
Have you ever been in a spaghetti factory?
Yes, it's been many years, but I remember really enjoying it.
They have a great menu, and their pastry department is outstanding.
But we'll have to maybe have a staff lunch in there.
Didn't take you long to figure that out, did you?
Well, you know.
Well, everything we do here at the Dove surrounds food.
It seriously does.
Yeah,
yes.
That's good stuff all the way. All right, well, congratulations to him. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for a Monday morning. Pushing the week here, Monday morning. Thank you, Preston. Smart Lawn. If you're smart, you'll call him. The Dow's off 129. Ooh, the Nas is down 301 points, and the S&P is down 48, almost 49. I'm sure news of bombing in Iran's got everybody nervous on Wall Street this morning.
Sure.
We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, today's a big day for Newsmax as they open up their trading. The gold is back up to 31.46. Silver's hanging in there at 34.5. And well, look at that crude oil back up almost a whole dollar, $73.61 a barrel. That's what's happening on Big Board this morning. Okay.
All right. Well, on Newsmax's Saturday report, constitutional law expert Rudy Giuliani breaks down the changes over the three branches of government brought out by the Democratic Party over the years.
It's very difficult, Rita, because we've spent a lifetime convincing people, including yours truly, that our judiciary was sacrosanct, that it was independent, that you had to leave it alone, because they were going to. But that all was premised on the fact that these were men and women of goodwill who would apply the Constitution, not as an originalist or an inventive person, intellectually, honestly. So when they, for example, intrude into his ability, the president's ability to make decisions about foreign policy, to make decisions about immigration, to make decisions about national defense, they have no role in that. In fact, a doctrine that exists that they don't even bother to look at or read is the political question doctrine. Courts in the past that had discretion, the kinds of courts we respected, in a situation like this would say the Constitution left this to the other two branches of the government. The president can make foreign policy, but he needs the advice and consent of the Senate. So it's something that's been confined to the two other branches. This is an area where we don't have power. The dignity and the respect for the Supreme Court came about when they had a reluctance to use power and destroy our separation of powers. And now, starting with Wilson and the Democrats and the New Deal, they have destroyed the three branches of government. We have four branches of government. We have the legislative, we have the executive, we have the judiciary, and we have the alphabet agencies that control our lives, most of which are completely unconstitutional because the president can't fire the people who are there. There is no such branch of government other than the executive branch that is blatantly unconstitutional. I think that's going to get solved within the next year.
What's happened here is the president, every move over the weekend, he got another slap down from another district judge, I should say. And, the only thing I can think of, as bad as this is, there's a good side to it. There's a silver lining. It's now exposed. Mm-hmm. And that means it will be dealt with. The question will it be dealt with before the midterm elections? And can the Republicans hold the Senate and the House during the midterm elections to codify anything that they're doing now in the way of judicial reform? But to have some district judge over in Missouri tell the president he can't do what he wants to do, something is fundamentally wrong here. Mm-hmm. And it has to be corrected. I don't think any of us thought that it would be. Now, here's the real thing that's really going on. It's interesting. The president is reluctantly, but rightfully, giving into these injunctions. He has to. Legally, he has to. But we also have one on the table that never was dealt with. And the Supreme Court got involved in it and said to the Biden administration, no, you cannot forgive student loans. And they went ahead and did it anyway, and nothing came of it.
Right.
So we do have a judicial problem here in this country that has to be resolved. And I think what Giuliani is saying there is right. We always thought the judicial system was kind of like the place of common sense and fair application. But no, it's been politicized. Gosh. So I don't know what's going to come of this, but I do think now the cat's out of the bag, so to speak, and this thing is going to be looked at, and it's going to have to be resolved through two places, either Congress or the Supreme Court. And I can tell you right now, the Supreme Court doesn't want this because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the merits of the case, has everything to do with rogue judges. And they don't want to rule on that, but they're going to be forced to, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. At the end of the day, whoever thought the court systems in America would be politicized? And they are. You know what happens when you hear about a court? Well, there's 3 Ds and there's 2 Rs. That's the first thing they tell you about the makeup of the court. What does that tell you? It's been politicized.
Right.
Why can't we have 5 justices? Why do it have to be D and Rs? That tells you that the whole system has been politicized and has to be looked at. And I think it will. I think it will. All right, good morning to you. 25 past the hour. Baked potatoes and clams. I don't know if those go together or not, but
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No. Let's go find some French fries.
All right, so let me ask you this. Okay, hold on here. You got 2 girls, 2 teenage girls.
Yes.
Do they judge fries? So
yes, they have their favorite.
And then which one is?
We all like the shoestring, the really thin, crispy.
Like where?
Like places?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, what's the place down by the movie theater?
Oh, yeah?
Across the street there. Oh, what is that called?
Oh, Red Robin?
No.
Red Robin is a pitless fry.
I didn't. No.
They bring you. Okay, so you like the thin ones?
They're really thin, crispy. Mm-hmm.
McDonald's?
I know McDonald's has good fries.
Yeah,
they're not my favorite.
Yeah, okay.
Do you like them?
I haven't been to McDonald's in so long. I don't even know what. I tell you, I take that back. We were driving, and we stopped in a McDonald's to get something because we were driving fast and I wanted to get in and out. And I come into this building and all I see is kiosks around.
Oh, right.
There's no humans anymore.
Yeah.
And you walk up to this thing and you're looking at it and you go, what's this?
A computer to take my order.
There's nobody talking to me. It doesn't smile at you.
I know.
If you push the button, something happens and you just paid for something you don't even know if you got it yet.
Right.
All right, we'll be right back.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Okay, welcome back. 28 past the hour. By the way, coming up in a little bit, we're going to Skype in from Jerusalem today. Ruthie Bloom, she is with the Jerusalem News Syndicate, so we'll get a live report out of Israel this morning of what's going on over there. But all eyes on Iran, as President Trump has pretty much said, come to the table, and if not, you're going to get bombed. And here's CBN Newswatch to give us an update.
This is CBN Newswatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. I want to begin this half hour in the Middle East. President Donald Trump warns Iran if they don't negotiate, things will go very bad. As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, Trump's warning is the latest signal that military action by Israel and the U.S. may be the next major event in the Middle East.
Trump's warning came in an interview with NBC News over the weekend. He said, if the Iranians don't make a deal, there will be bombs, and they will be bombs like they've never seen before. Iran rejected Trump's recent offer of direct negotiations and left the door open to indirect talks. The UN agency overseeing Iran's nuclear program says the regime has sped up its uranium enrichment and now has enough that's just one step away from creating 6 nuclear bombs. In the meantime, the U.S. is noticeably building an armada of B-2 and B-52 bombers in the Indian at the joint U.S.-UK base of Diego Garcia.
Keep in mind, the B-2 bomber was essentially built specifically to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran. They have the capability of lifting what they call a massive ordnance penetrator, the largest bunker buster bomb the United States possesses.
CBN News military analyst Chuck Holton says President Trump's statements are unprecedented.
The real question is, President Trump has said that if Iran does not come to the negotiating table within 2 months, that there will be military strikes. He said that repeatedly, not even equivocating at all. That there will be military strikes on Iran. That's something the United States has not done before. So this would be pretty...
And Supreme Leader called for the destruction of Israel.
It's a religious, moral, and human duty for everyone to work toward removing this wicked criminal entity from the region.
In Jerusalem, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sent a message to 3 major terrorist enemies.
Regarding Hamas in Gaza, the military pressure works. Regarding Hezbollah in Lebanon, there is very firm enforcement, very firm, without compromise. Regarding the Houthis, I greatly appreciate the action of the United States, our ally. They're handling them very strongly.
And Chris Mitchell joins us now with more. So, Chris, what are the challenges of an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities?
Well, first of all, they're buried so deep underground, Ephraim, and that's why the B-2 bombers are so important. The ones that Chuck mentioned in our report, there are 30,000-pound bombs. They're about 20 feet long, 3 feet wide. They can go through about 200 feet of rock. And the other challenge is that the nuclear facilities of Iran are spread throughout the country. And why is that? They know what happened in 1981 and 2007. In 1981, Israel destroyed it was the Iraqi nuclear reactor at Osirak. And then in 2007, Israel destroyed the Syrian nuclear reactor. And so that's why they have spread all their nuclear facilities throughout the country. So that combination of being spread throughout the country and then being buried underground are two major challenges for any attack by the U.S. and or Israel. The good news for Israel and the U.S. is that last year, Israel destroyed much of Iran's air defenses, and also they've destroyed much of Syrian air defenses last year. So they won't have the same kind of air defenses that you would have expected just about a year ago. Right now, we're looking at a 2-month deadline expiring from President Trump that could expire within weeks. And as we said in our report, the IAEA says that Iran is really closer to military-grade uranium, and it could have a bomb, or at least enough nuclear material for a bomb within days. So, Ephraim, the race is on right now in the Middle East.
Indeed it is. What kind of retaliation could Iran take if Israel and the U.S. attack?
Well, ballistic missiles, they just released a video of an underground missile city. It's quite a very stark underground missile city. It's huge. But the question is, Ephraim, they've already attacked Israel twice with ballistic missiles. And actually, both of those attacks against Israel were spectacular failures. They say they're going to hit Diego Garcia if the U.S. attacks. And that may be too far away for Iran's ballistic missiles. Also, it seems like the U.S. is moving anti-missile systems into the area. The danger, and we talked about this with our interview with Chuck Holton earlier today, the real danger may not be the ballistic missiles, but it could be terror attacks in the U.S. It's known that there are sleeper cells that Iran has placed within the U.S. They could alert those, and that could be a part of the danger. The other danger could be is cyber warfare to U.S. infrastructure. So those are all part of what may happen if there is a joint U.S.-Israeli attack against Iran's nuclear facilities. Ephraim, something that we've been talking about, reporting about literally for almost 20 years now.
Yep, and those are all the considerations. We'll see where this is going to go, but I'm sure there's some coordination behind the scenes between Israel and the United States. By the way, coming up a little bit later on this morning, we're going to Skype in live from Israel, Ruthie Bloom. Now, she formerly was inside the administration with Benjamin Netanyahu. She's now the chief editor for the Jewish News Syndicate. And we'll Skype her in and get an update of what's going on over there. So pretty important stuff all the way around. All right, let's check out the weather with a guy that's out but not down.
With another in a series of low-pressure ridges moving across the top of our region, today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, rainy and breezy, mainly after 9 a.m. with daytime highs in the low to mid-50s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley, rain showers and breezy with daytime highs in the low to mid-50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with snow levels rising to around 3,000 feet this afternoon. In central Oregon, a chance of rain and snow in near 50 in Prineville, a chance of snow breezy near 47 in Bend, snow likely near 43 in Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, showers with a high near 53. Along the Oregon coast, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms and gusty winds and daytime high temperatures in the low to mid-50s from Coos Bay through Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, showers with the possibility of thunderstorms in low to mid-50s for Grants Pass, Medford, and Ashland. A winter weather advisory with snow and highs in the mid-40s in the Klamath Basin. Into Northern California, rain and snow, then rain in upper 40s in Wairika. Rain with the possibility of thunderstorms and gusty winds with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s for Redding, Chico, and Sacramento. In the Bay Area, rainy and breezy in mid to upper 50s for Santa Rosa and Napa. Rain with a high near 60 in San Francisco with a southwest wind gusting up to 23 miles per hour. And today in San Jose, rainy, breezy, and near 63. It's a look at your Monday weather on the Dove.
Okay, there's a look of Jerry Bilden's wannabe office. Hang in there, buddy. Anyway, a lot of snow over the last 24 hours or so up there. You can see that the parking lot, you can't even see the parking lot, it's got snow. But cars are starting to show up. It is open today. You're going to have several inches of fresh new snow. They've been out grooming since 4:30 this morning, so the hills are ready to go. And just a beautiful shot for one of our Southern Oregon jewels, Mount Ashland. Okay.
Well, we have border czar Tom Hallman. He was asked his estimate on how many people have been deported so far, and here's his answer.
Actually, hopefully we'll have that number by Friday. We asked for that number yesterday. I'm waiting on it. I can tell you, I looked at the numbers this morning. As far as interior arrests, we're at about 44,000, just shy of 44,000 arrests in the interior, which are by far more than the Biden administration did in the interior. And let me address one thing. I keep reading this. We're deporting less people than Joe Biden. Let's remember, Joe Biden was counting Border Patrol removals on the border, where millions of people are coming across. You can't compare our removal numbers to them. First of all, he was fudging numbers, adding border removals to ICE removals. And second of all, you got millions of people crossing the border, and Border Patrol were bouncing some of them back. We secured the border. We're down border crossing 96%, so we don't have millions of people coming across the border. So to compare our removal numbers to his is just ridiculous. We could remove 100% of our people, and he could remove 10% of his people, and the number's still going to be higher because we're talking about millions of people coming across. The question that people should be asking, how many did the Trump administration release compared to Biden administration? We're at about 0, and they're at millions, so that's the difference. And so I'm reading the story about deportation numbers are lower than Biden. It's fake news. It's not comparing apples to apples. Compare the interior enforcement arrests, interior enforcement removals to the last administration, and there we see the real difference.
Yeah, and I think we need to keep this in mind. First of all, the border is secure now. Secondly, they stopped this flood of illegals. And then third, they are deporting. So the combination of the two is heading in the right direction. But now that you've got district courts totally interrupting this deportation, which is so interesting, I think in turn that will implode on the courts, and that'll have to be dealt with. But the border basically is secure, and we haven't seen that in 4.5 years. They're saying possibly 29 million people came across, and we don't know. Now, we heard just earlier this morning from Chris Mitchell that one of the problems with maybe bombing Iran would be the terrorist cells that are inside the United States. They know they're here, and would that be the retaliation? So it's a very tense moment across the landscape, and a lot to be praying about, because this is serious stuff. This is biblical in so many ways. But I can't help but think that Tom Hallman is frustrated beyond measure that all of this deportation somehow is being interrupted by the courts.
Sure.
By the way, have you noticed when you deal with it's something, just a little thing to think about. When you watch certain news segments or certain news outlets, let me put it that way, they won't call them illegals, they'll call them undocumented people. And when you watch other certain outlets, they're called illegals.
Yes.
So a little bit of semantical war going on top of everything else. So, all right. Well, listen, on Newsmax, by the way, today's a big day with Newsmax because they just opened up a few moments ago on Wall Street for public trading. This is quite a story. I'm going to have Chris Ruddy on. We'll talk about this. But over the last year, they've been working towards this and doing a marvelous job. So today's the official day that their company became public, so you may want to check that out. Anyway, they have a by the way, we carry Newsmax on one of our sub-channels, so that's why we do that. They have a program called National Report, and Sheldon Daniels, who is challenging Representative Jamin Crockett. Now, this is a young lady representative out of Texas who so disrespectfully criticized the governor. The backlash has been amazing, so it looks like she's going to have a challenger in the 2026 race, and here's the story.
On March 29th, it's my birthday, and all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes, you are sending a message, and I am so thankful. I'm going to keep screaming in the halls of Congress. I just need y'all to make sure that y'all keep screaming in the streets.
The Attorney General there, though, is telling you to tread carefully. I'm curious your response, and have some of these protests at Tesla dealerships gone too far?
I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever, yet I've also never made excuse for those violent actors such as the ones on January 6th. So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
It's pure economic terrorism. And then on top of that, Tesla is one of the shining business jewels of Texas. Okay, Elon has come to Texas and he's doing his thing. We love him here. I think he's created some 120,000 jobs in the state of Texas. And then, the Tesla brand and the stock price is tied to so many 401ks. There's a lot of people in older age that are depending on companies like Tesla to do really well, and people who are rooting for America first. But I think this is just another example of Jasmine Crockett and these radical leftists. They are anti-American, and at this point, they know that their power is waning, and they are trying to do what all communist regimes do when they're on their way out, which is resort to violence.
Well, that's so well said. He'll be running against her coming up this next year. She's also went on to call the governor of Texas Hot Wheels, which was an amazing disrespect of the fact that Governor Abbott spent most of his life in a wheelchair, and she turned around and called him that. I think she could be censored on the U.S. House floor for saying that. That is yet to be carried out. But this is a radical left person in their thinking, and I really hope that that Sheldon Daniels, that gentleman you heard there, can run successfully and take her seat. That'll be great. All right, we'll take a quick break, and on this clam potato day, kind of a mixed thing here. Put more hot sauce on it, Jerry would say.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Spring is around the corner and summer is on its way. With fire danger biting at its heels, flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry, LLC can help you protect your property with adequate fire brush clearing to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
This week on The John Ankerberg Show.
The polls of the Pew Research Center show that 4 in 10 Americans believe we are living in the last days. Further, they found out that 70% of evangelical Christians believe Christ could return during their lifetime. Where does the Bible talk about these things? Join me for The John Ankerberg Show weekdays at 4 o'clock right here on the Dove TV. It'll be encouraging and informative.
Welcome back. It's a quarter before the top of the hour on this Back at It Monday after spring break. Melinda's here, and like I said earlier, if you haven't heard, Jerry will be out for we don't know how long. Unfortunately, the first day of spring break, he broke his leg skiing. Thank God it was skiing. It wasn't something else. If you're going to do it,
We're so sorry,
have
Jerry.
fun doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we miss him dearly. And
Yes,
it was a bad break, too. He had surgery, post-surgery, and all that stuff going on. So pray for him. But he's doing fine. He's home. He's frustrated. He pinned up. It's like pinning up a tiger.
Yes.
But anyway, welcome back. A lot going on. And Kurt Cameron. Now, Kurt's an interesting guy. His new ministry, he wants to go into schools, libraries, and read books to children. And you remember he got booted out because his book was too nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was up against the drag queens, and he's starting to win this now, and it's doing very, very well. And he's been in a lot of movies. He's quite a guy. He and Dr. Marshall Foster were buddies until Marshall passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he weighs in on the controversy over Snow White and Disney because apparently Disney is not paying attention to the masses, and here's what Kurt had to say.
Apparently, Disney is just not listening to the message. When you go woke, you go broke. Yes, Disney and Snow White are continuing to go down a road that parents don't want. I mean, trust matters to parents. And when you take a beloved movie like Snow White and you strip it of what is true and what is good and what is beautiful, and you start replacing it with actors and other values that are going against all of that, parents are going to start looking for alternatives. At the end of the day, this is a business. And you would think, well, but why doesn't Target switch all their stuff around? Why do they still offer, tuck pockets for girls' bikinis, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense when the parents don't want that and they're not showing up to buy that stuff. Well, when you're funded by great big funds like BlackRock and State Street and all of this other stuff, you can see videos where they're saying, look, there's a bigger financial loss for companies than just the customer not buying their stuff. And that is that their investors, their funders are telling them, we want these values pushed from the top down. And I suspect that that's what's going on. Now, you can't do that forever. If ultimately you can't sell your movies in the box office, well, then you've got to come up with a different strategy eventually.
Yeah, what's it take for them to wake up? They've lost so much money lately, and they've become so controversial lately. They're trying to push an agenda that their customer base doesn't want. I think Kurt's absolutely spot on with this. It's kind of like how much more money that some of these media outlets are going to lose before they realize that their bias isn't what people want. Right. They want just the news. So anyway, I'm so disappointed in Disney. This isn't Disney. Disney had this innocent image of wholesomeness.
Yeah, wholesomeness, exactly.
And families and having a good time and using their imagination. I mean, I grew up on Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. Yeah. And they were innocent and they were fun to watch and they had their little,
Mickey
but
Mouse
now everything's got some kind of a sexual agenda to it. And parents are saying, no, we don't want this stuff.
I know I don't.
Yeah. I mean, you got two beautiful young girls, and you
hardly watch that anymore.
We were watching one of our favorite channels over the weekend, and then here comes this show, and it was all LGBTQ stuff on a major network program. You kind of go, we just turned it, So they're trying to push something that nobody wants. A and B, it's against natural law, and people are saying no. I don't know. Thank you, Kurt, for standing up to it. All right, coming up just in a little bit, we're going to have Ruthie Bloom. We're going to Skype her in from Israel this morning. She's with the Jewish News Syndicate. We'll get a firsthand report of just how tense things are over there in the Middle East, which are growing by the second as to what's going to happen with Iran. So we'll check that out coming up in just a few moments. Let's talk airplanes.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library's Air Force One Pavilion, where you can walk aboard the actual Air Force One, tail number 27000. I've done it. Shown here by the representative of the library.
Well, this is a very special treat. When I was growing up, and it wasn't too far from here, I never dreamed that I'd be flying into Decatur on Air Force One. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, there wasn't an Air Force One.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and welcome to the Air Force One Pavilion at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. I am so excited to take you on a quick tour of this extraordinary building, where history literally takes flight. This 87,000 square foot space is home to the iconic Air Force One, tail number 27000, the plane that served 7 U.S. presidents from 1973 to 2001. This plane flew over 1 million miles, and President Reagan flew on board it for over 660,000 of those miles, visiting 26 foreign countries and dozens upon dozens of domestic trips. Just imagine how many historic moments happened on board this plane. Fun fact, on July 4th, 1984, President Reagan started the Pepsi Firecracker 400 stock car race during a phone call on board Air Force One.
All right, gentlemen, start your engines.
After the plane landed, he actually attended the end of the race. Now you get to step into this legendary and historic flying White House and make memories of your own. And the coolest part? This isn't just a static display. It's an experience. We tried to keep everything as authentic as possible. The original plane's air conditioning, it's still running. The 2-degree upward tilt of the plane, that's so when you're on the plane looking out the cockpit window, it looks like you're gonna fly and take off. From the cockpit to the presidential seal on President Reagan's belt buckle in the stateroom to the rear galley, every detail is a piece of history. Galleys on this plane include the communications center, where you could call anyone in the world, President Reagan's stateroom, Mrs. Reagan's stateroom, a boardroom, a staff and guest compartment, and the seats for the media. Don't forget the front and rear kitchen galleys that made fresh meals for everyone on the plane. Why the chocolate cake? Because President Reagan wanted to make sure that if he ever found out someone on the plane was celebrating a birthday, he would always have a cake on board to celebrate. But wait, there is still so much more to see. In addition to Air Force One, we have a Marine One helicopter, a presidential motorcade, and a stunning mural depicting the history of presidential aircraft. It was this helicopter that flew President Johnson from Andrews Air Force Base to the White House when he arrived from Texas in Air Force One 26,000 with President Kennedy's casket. When Air Force One landed, President Kennedy's casket was removed from the plane and taken away by ambulance. President Johnson then exited Air Force One and gave a short press conference before boarding this helicopter. And our motorcade? Well, it includes this authentic 1983 Cadillac Presidential Parade Limousine, which joined President Reagan's motorcade detail in January of 1984. It also includes this 1986 Chevy Suburban, used by the Secret Service as a follow-up vehicle, and a 1985 sedan and 2 motorcycles from the Los Angeles Police Department.
You know, as I often say when we're taking off in Air Force One, it's great to get out of Washington and back to where the real people are.
Well, you've been there.
I have.
You were there during the holidays?
A couple years ago, we went at Christmas time when I was visiting my family down there, and it was spectacular. I had never been to a presidential library before, and this was very well done. It starts from at the beginning of his life and goes throughout the journey of his presidency and his marriage and decorating the White House with his wife, and yeah, I mean everything.
And you said it had a bunch of Christmas trees from every other. Well,
it did. It was decorated from different countries that he did a lot with, and they were spectacular. It was really quite magical, just for even being in there at Christmas.
I'd love to go. It's on my bucket list. I'd like to go down there and see that. We've, as people in media, you get these invitations, or I shouldn't say invitations, you get a report that if you want to get on the list, you could do your show from down there because it's all wired for media to do it from that platform that you saw there where it looked out over Air Force One, which I think would be a hoot to do someday.
I think we should do it.
The only presidential library I've been to is John Kennedy's.
Okay.
And we had a reception on the lawn outside there. We got to go through President Kennedy's. And you got to remember that this is way back in the 50s and the 60s, and actually the 60s. And when you look at that, the decor of everything was just different. But that was and he had just a slice of the Air Force One that he flew.
Oh, really?
In.
Okay.
It was just a piece of it in there, but to have this one, and if
you can walk through it. We walked through it, and you really got a great glimpse of what it was like.
I'd love to see it because I saw the documentary where they disassembled it and brought it up that windy road to get it into the building.
And it's a windy road.
Yeah, and then they stuck it in there and built it back together. It's kind of like the Spruce Goose when they left Southern California. They brought it up the freeway in pieces, and we went over here to Pear Tree and watched it go underneath the freeway.
Did you?
And then they put it in the building and finished the building around it up there in
That's what they did here too.
All right, take Deuteronomy 31, chapter 31, verse 6. This is a great one for you to start your new week with. Be strong and courageous, and do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you, and he will not leave you or forsake you. Take that as your promise, not only for the day, maybe for the whole week. Deuteronomy 31:6. All right, stick around. We got some great guests coming up. Have a potato.
Have a great Monday, everybody.
A potato. What's the other one?
Oh, a clam.
Clams.
We'll go for the potatoes.
All right, the fog has rolled in up there at Mount Ashland, but it is open today with a lot of fresh snow.
I know your love is finding me. I see you in everything. You're all up in.
Get ready for fun at Rogue Ski Shop Think Snow Sale. Boulder Gear clothing now 20% off. Goggles, adults starting at $29, kids starting at $26. All Scott gloves 20% off. If you ski or ride, it's time to slide into Rogue Ski Shop Medford.
Grange Co-op, where big ideas grow.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why at Kelly's, it's automotive service with a heart for God and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond. But that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
theDove is upgrading our studios. For the first time, weather and sound insulation, air conditioning, and we're enlarging our studios to produce more local shows. It's been budgeted, but we also need some much-needed equipment to complete the remodel. Our goal is $128,853. Will you prayerfully consider helping us during our spring boost? You can call anytime or donate online safely at theDove.us. Thank you for helping theDove change lives.
Hey, I'm John, host of Road Trip to Truth, the show where we find answers to some of life's biggest questions. Join us as we hit the road.
Where do you think the notion of morality comes from?
Shout out atheists.
We're humans. We're stupid. Okay, I need to change my decision.
These are hard questions today. You got me thinking more than in class.
Well, you just got out of a critical thinking class. So.
See Road Trip to Truth Monday, Friday, and Saturday on the Dove TV. Wake up to Friends in the Morning, Perry and Jerry, weekdays on Mornings on the Dove, encouraging and informative, the Dove TV.
Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. You know, we do a lot of reporting and interviewing of all things that are pro-life around the world. And I'm delighted today to have Nir Solomon with us. He's the executive director of the leading pro-life organization in Israel. You can go to israelbabies.com is the website, israelsbaby.com, and check out all of their activities there. So it's a great pleasure to have Nir with us today. Nir, good to see you. How are you, friend?
Good to see you, too. Good to be back.
Thank you. The best to you. Well, tell us about your organization.
Well, the Efrat organization has been around for close to 50 years now.
Wow.
We have actually succeeded in helping close to 90,000 women make the choice they really wanted to make, which is to have the babies that God has entrusted them with. And that's what we're all about.
That is amazing. 90,000. How do you
close to, we want to celebrate that number. We're not there yet, but we're close to 90,000, correct.
That's wonderful. So what impact did October 7th have on the pro-life movement there in Israel?
That's an interesting question because on the one hand, Israel is blessed with a baby boom. Many more people understand the value of life and have cherished life even more than before. Israel is a very life-affirming country. So even though unfortunately there are a lot of abortions taking place in Israel, it's not used frivolously or as a form of birth control. It's really because women find themselves in peculiarly difficult situations, and the stress of not being able to provide, not knowing what the future looks like, that's where they need our help. So in the war, while on the one hand, life has been embraced to its totality, I would say. But on the other hand, there's so many women that have faced very difficult situations. Their husbands lost their jobs. They're out in reserve duty. They don't know if they'll be back. You know, my wife related to me a terrible interaction my son had with his friends. My son is 21 years old. He serves in the Golani Brigade, a commander in the Golani Brigade. And he was sitting with his friends talking about another friend of theirs, and they mentioned his name, and they said, "Have you heard what happened to him?" So my son said, "What happened to him? He's getting married?" So he said, "No, he's not getting married." "What, so he's dead?" So that's a very surreal reality that we are living within this war. Unfortunately, we lost a tremendous amount of people. So the uncertainty that women are faced with today during the war, will my husband come back? Will he come back in full form? Will he come back having his job? Will his business collapse? Will it be recovered? What is going to be? That causes a lot of women to be under tremendous stress, and we get these calls every day. You know, we don't know what to do. What is going to happen? We really need your help. And that's where Efrat comes in. Efrat comes in standing by the woman's side, telling her, A, she's not alone, and providing all the emotional and, when needed, the financial support in order to get through that difficult period. It's only through that difficult period that they need help. These women are strong women. They have strong men by their side, or they will have a strong man by their side. And we need to be there in their most difficult moment where they feel they have no choice other than at this moment to terminate their pregnancies.
Wow. Let me say again to those who want to get involved here, IsraelBabies.com is their website, IsraelBabies.com. There is a picture of the landing page. You can check that out. So, Nir, let me ask you this. How do you find the women? How do women find you?
All right, so that's a great question. So today, you can imagine 89,000 women that we've supported, over 89,000, close to 90,000 that we've supported. That's already a significant population in general Israel, right? So that's already a percentage of the Israeli population. So today, a lot of times it's word of mouth. So a woman will call us up and say, "Listen, my neighbor is contemplating an abortion. You need to speak with her." Or a woman will call up that she herself is in distress. So that is the primary way in which we get calls. A woman herself, her friend or family, or a social worker or a doctor who knows somebody's in need will tell the woman, "Listen, reach out to Efrat." That's how they get to us. However, we want to make sure that every woman knows that we are out there in their critical moment. And a lot of times, and you see this, unfortunately, in the U.S. a lot, the pro-choice movement, I say pro-choice in quotation marks, because really what it means is pro-abortion community, they try to make sure that you are so swayed and so skewed that you don't even know that there's another voice out there. So we go out and we publicize on buses, on street signs, in the radio, on TV, wherever we are permitted, to be able to call out to women and say, first of all, it's your choice. Don't let anybody pressure you to go ahead and have an abortion. Everybody thinks that that's the pro-choice movement, is to give them the choice to have an abortion. We don't think that's true. We think that a woman is wired to have a baby. And the real pro-choice movement is to give her a choice to have that baby when she feels she has no more choice and is being pushed to the wall to terminate her pregnancy. So that's how they reach out to us. We are very fortunate to have met a lot of our children tens of years later now during the war, which is just remarkable. Children of ours that are now fighting in the Israeli war told us that they are alive because of us today, and they're honored today to serve and protect the entire Jewish nation. But we just needed to be there for their mother in that critical, critical moment.
That's beautiful. So beautiful. So what kind of services do you provide? Kind of like a pregnancy center over here?
So it is like a pregnancy center. And in fact, we opened up a pregnancy center in the United States as well, based in Florida, in order to build a real bridge between the Jewish and Christian community on this pro-life issue. Everybody has a different stance, exactly what that means, but all of us agree that we embrace life. And unfortunately, we need to be there as a stronger, united voice. So we opened up a crisis pregnancy center, bringing out the Jewish voice, I would say, because thank God there are so many crisis pregnancy centers in the United States, primarily run by, manned and staffed by amazing, amazing Christian men and women that are out there to really give comfort and support. And we want to lend a hand as well in the Jewish community to make sure that we are also there with a voice of embracing life. So we can make sure that we are doing our share, not only in Israel, but in the United States and all around the world. Today, we've been saving children in Lima, Peru, in England, in the United States, in Canada, in Mexico, all around the world, reaching out to Jewish communities, asking to make it a priority to talk about the abortion issue so that every woman knows she is not alone. God is with her, but we are also with her in her time of need here on this earth.
So how do you bring faith into your services?
Well, at the end of the day, it's all about knowing that you are not alone. You're not walking alone. You walk always alongside God Almighty himself, and it's our choice to be able to be the outstretched arm, I would say, of doing God's mercy. He showed mercy on this woman, and we have to be there to stand by her side. That's all we do. We don't force faith. We don't push faith. We're just there by her side to give her the comfort she needs in order to carry through the difficult time that she is facing at that point in time. And the rest is history, really. When she sees that baby, she connects to exactly who supported her. Our name is called, the organization's name is called Efrat, because Efrat, we are told in the Bible, was a name given for Miriam, the quintessential midwife, Moses' sister. And we know that the redemption of the Jewish people in Egypt came from the faith of these women who had a decree, heard the decree of the king, Pharaoh, who said you need to make sure that all the males that are born, you kill and you throw to the Nile River. And they said, we have a decree from above. We know who the King of Kings is. And if he decided that this woman will become pregnant and the baby that she's carrying is a boy, then that boy needs to live. So that's what we are continuing today, without pushing faith on the women, but just being there by their side, loving them, caring for them, and getting them through that difficult time.
Gosh, that's beautiful. Again, let me say to our viewers and listeners, you feel like you want to support and get involved, go to israelbabies.com. That's Nir's website, israelbabies.com. There's the picture of their landing page. You're going to be involved in this literally around the world. So, Nir, I understand you had quite the story with, is it Eliana story? Is that her story?
Yes.
Share that with us.
You talk Eliana, who came to us, unfortunately, has lost her daughter in the Nova Festival. And she told us a terrible, terrible, terrible story. She said, she was an older woman already, so to speak. She was 43 years old. She had already 3 children that are growing. The youngest one was almost 18, and she decided now she has a new life. She's going to empty nest and travel the world with her new partner, not the father of these 3 children. She's in a loving relationship with a new man, and she became pregnant. And at the time she became pregnant, she said, well, now is not the right time. Now is not the time to build a new family. And she decided to schedule an abortion. She picked up the phone, called the abortion clinic, and as she called the abortion clinic, she had a flashback when she was 16 years old and heard a lecture by the head of our organization who passed away, Dr. Eli Schusheim, who talked about the development of the fetus. And she said, wait a second, maybe I don't want this child, but I can take the life of my child. So she closed the phone. A few days later, she decided, forget about it. Everybody's saying an abortion is fine. She picked up the phone again to schedule the abortion again. And again, that same voice from Dr. Schusheim haunted her, so to speak. And she says, I can't do this. She closed the phone again. She decided to take a vacation, and she went up north in Israel, beautiful, beautiful area, to a little bit clean her mind. And she said to her boyfriend at the time, you and I want this abortion. We need to pray to God to give us the sign that we should have an abortion. Can you imagine somebody praying to God to get a sign to have an abortion? So she did. She did. She prayed. They went to a very special holy site up north. And when she met her husband, men and women pray separately in the Orthodox community. While she wasn't an observant Jew, she's a very strong believer. And as she met her boyfriend at the time, as they walk down to the street, and she says, now God is going to give us a sign. I prayed so strong to him, he's going to give us a sign that I can have the abortion. A bus passes by with a sign of the Efrat organization. And she says, okay, God, that's not the sign I wanted. I wanted the sign that I should have an abortion. She was very upset at God at the time, but she realized that that was a sign to keep this baby. This baby grew up. He was about 2 years old. He became very, very connected to his sister Moria, but unfortunately his sister Moria on October 7th was found missing. She was at the Nova Festival. She was missing for about 10 days, and then she was given notice. The mother was given notice that her daughter was murdered in the Nova Festival. And all she wanted to do is crawl up in bed and die. And then she said, but wait a second, I have a young child to take care of. And then she realized, God didn't ask me when he took the life of my daughter, but he didn't ask me when he made me pregnant either. This pregnancy, even though it was unplanned, I used protection, but it was obviously God's plan because I wasn't supposed to save this baby's life. This baby came to the world to save my life because without him today, I would not have any reason to live. And she came to us and said, I want to speak on behalf of Efrat and tell every woman out there that if God blesses you with a special, special, special gift of a child, there's a reason for that. And for me, it was to give me life, not only to give him life. So God willing, we should partner with every organization that is willing to reach out to another woman, help her, support her, and give life to another beautiful, beautiful baby boy, baby girl who will grow up. One of them grew up to be Moses. Mm-hmm. And every single one of them has an unbelievable purpose in this world, whether it's a Moses or it's doing a podcast or it's running an organization, a pro-life organization, or working in a school or being a fire truck driver, whatever it may be. It's God's plan. We need every single one of these souls to make a perfect world.
That's so beautifully said. Again, let me say to our viewers and listeners, learn more about it, get involved, support them. IsraelBabies.com. There's a picture of the landing page, IsraelBabies.com. Nir, you're an inspiration. Thank you, my friend, for giving us some of your time. Stay in it, and let's stay connected.
Thank you very much, and God bless you, and God bless your listeners.
Thank you.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
It can be puzzling assembling all the right pieces for your insurance needs in retirement. I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. Guiding you through the stormy seas of insurance, Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
Romans 1:20 tells us,
God's power is revealed in creation. Yet 2 Corinthians 4:4 reminds us that Satan has blinded many to the gospel. At the Life Outdoors, we've seen the truth of God, His eternal power and divine nature displayed in every mountain and stream. Follow along and let's wake the wild within. The mountains don't lie. Where there's truth, there's Jesus.
Okay, welcome back. I want to take a few moments today to just kind of encourage you to prayerfully consider supporting the Dove during its spring boost. We had made some big decisions around here over the last several months, and one of them was to basically upgrade our building. Now, this is a big deal, and we have budgeted for this. It's a major thing. The long story short is that we have decided to stay here and fix the building. And the building, we've been in this building about 11 years, and we are grateful for it. And we are honored to have this building. As you know, we've been at the airport, and every once in a while, airplane noise interrupts everything that we do. So we've decided to, and we budgeted to go ahead and fix it. And that basically means we're going to insulate the building properly and put heating and air conditioning into the building properly. What we didn't figure out that we needed to do, at least initially, was we probably still need, well, we do. We need about $128,000 in equipment to upgrade to make this move. And this is pretty typical to a certain degree, but you just don't put old equipment in new places. And we're asking you to prayerfully consider in helping us with this matter. What you're looking at now, if you're watching on the Dove TV, is a lot of equipment there, and some of this we have to upgrade and replace. And I think they'll show you the list here in a moment. Is that Dan? Is he out there now? Is that him? Is that him? Okay. What you're seeing right here now, we actually have our engineer out there. He's walking around with his phone. This is live right now. This is inside the building. Look at that. There's a guy up there working already. We have to redo some of the lighting. We're redoing the walls, putting insulation. Those are 21-foot walls that have to be done. See that electrical panel? That electrical panel, it has to be completely rewired. That's where we had a kitchen that's been torn out and will be replaced. But we're putting in a lot of insulation to make the building not only hopefully reduce the noise levels significantly, but to make it more efficient as far as in the environment is concerned. We had some light air conditioning in there, but it just wasn't enough, and we're replacing it with full-blown first-hand air conditioning and heat. So this is the process. Everybody says, when are you going to be done? I don't know when we're going to be done. I have decided not to set myself with deadlines so I get frustrated and disappointed, so we're just taking it as it comes. But we do have a list of equipment that we have to put in there. One of them is we found out now that our firewall, this is kind of like one of the big security devices in our complete IT system has to be replaced. That shows $5,980. Well, it was interesting, from the time I went and got the first bid to where we are today, that went up $1,000. So it's just what happens. What you just saw there, our live feed, you know, we put a lot of people on there. We just had Nir on from Israel. We're going to go back to Israel in a few moments and have Ruthie back on with us. Well, we've been notified. Google bought out the company that we used to put people on the air. It's through Skype. Well, guess what? That's all going away May 1st. And we have to replace that with a new piece. We're forced to do that. A new piece of equipment. That's what it's called there on the upgrade for live feeds, $49.37, $100 there. This move will also force us to replace our traffic system. I don't want to bore you with statistics, but and a lot of techie stuff. The software system that runs the entire television network, that all has to be upgraded. You go through these things and you go through the upgrades throughout the years, and all of a sudden they throw you a real curve. And we have become quite the center, feeding a lot of stations up and down the Pacific Northwest, and so we have to upgrade that. Let me tell you about the teleprompter. A gentleman saw our show Friday and was watching our show, called us after the show, And he paid for that teleprompter, $28.50. So you know who you are, and I want to say thank you very much. The biggest item on there is what they call an LED wall or an LED production video wall. And we hope to place that into the new studio. That will catapult us into production, which we feel that we need to do in the future. That is start literally producing more programs ourselves. And then the audio board there for the television control room had to be replaced. That actually went down, and so we've already replaced it. We're asking you to help. In fact, that bill's sitting on my desk, $5,636. So as I always say when you consider supporting the Dove, is to not take from your church or any other ministry that the Lord have you involved in. But if you feel led to help us with this, believe me, we are so grateful and humbled by it. Still, 84% of the Dove's income and revenue comes from viewers and listeners just like you through the radio and the television. And folks, as you can tell, the world's still very, very upside down, and there's still a lot of tension out there, and there's still a lot of anxiety in spite of political changes and everything, all that. People are really, really hurting. And when you just read the everyday prayer requests that we get, and by the way, if you have one, we do pray for you. We do this. So they come in through the email, or sometimes they come through the actual mail. And you read some of these prayer requests and you go, wow, these are really complicated situations. And that's what we're here for. We're not here to replace the church. We're not here to make it a church. That's not it at all. We're here to strengthen people on a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis. We're here to augment what your church is doing and certainly ministering to. But we're in a high-tech world, and this stuff is changing every day, and overnight something becomes obsolete. And so when we get done with this, we're literally flipping the operation of our building. We're going to take the studio away from the noisiest part of the building and put it into the quietest part of the building. When we first moved in here, we didn't know one end from the other. We had to move in quickly. We set up and we got going. But now we're going to try to fix it and do it right. There's times in the summertime where I'll have to let the staff go home early. It gets too hot in here. Hopefully we can fix that now. But we've had temperatures in here well in the high 90s at times. And in the winter times it gets cold because we just didn't have the insulation. We're not complaining. We love this building, and I'm glad our board decided to stay here and fix it, and that's what we're doing. But this project, when you move an operation like ours, when you have all the tech stuff on one side and you're going to move it to the other side, you just don't do that overnight. And so everything has to be strategically thought out and move a little bit by little bit. The staff gets crunched. In fact, we have more people crammed into one room now, right there in that control room, as we took their cubicles away. We're trying to rewire all that. But pray about it. You can call us anytime at 541-776-5368. You can safely and securely go online at theDove.us, and you can support us there. Perhaps you got the mailer, or you got the e-blast. But seriously, if you could help us with this and push us over the top, we will be positioned. One of our goals is not only to fix the building, to make it more efficient all the way around, operationally, environmentally, and functional. But we really feel like in the future, we need to start producing more programs ourselves. And we have the capability and, quite frankly, the talent throughout our listening and viewing area of people that can come in here and do programming is pretty amazing. But we just didn't have the ability to do that. So hopefully when we're done with this over the next month or so, maybe a little longer, whatever it takes, we will have a setup where we can do this and still have the ability to do some functions here. So thank you. Thank you for trusting us. And when you support us, you know, we send out the devotional, which is literally going around the world right now. But pray about it today. You can call, and that's the number again, 541-776-5368, and then, or safely and securely online at theDove.us. We'll keep you posted from our goal down to where we are now, and we'll keep you posted along the way. But we're asking you to prayerfully consider this over the next 3 to 4 weeks in supporting the Dove with a little, what we're calling a spring boost to get us past this deal. And when we're all done, we'll show it to you. When we're all done with it, we'll show you how we took one side of the operation, we moved it to the other side, and the other side over to this side, which will make the whole thing a whole lot more efficient. But thank you so much for being a part of what we do here. It's just amazing. And I really do wish I could share with you some of the emails that we get. Yes, we still get letters. We get people stopping by, and the impact that the Dove is having. Folks, we couldn't do this without you. It just doesn't happen. And we're humbled by your support. And the opportunities, I will say this, the opportunities to take the Dove programming outside of our immediate area is amazing. The evangelistic part of me would say, yeah, let's go for it. The business part of me says, no, you can't. So we prayerfully consider those opportunities and only want to go where the Lord wants us to go. We're not big. We're not the big ones out there. We're just doing what God called us to do. So if you can pray about it and the Lord's leading, and only do what the Lord's leading you to do, again, call, and that number is easy. It's 541-776-5368. Or, again, if it's easy for you, by the way, and we do mean we protect this, it is safe and secure through our website to support the Dove at theDove.us. We don't share that with anybody. That's highly secured, and that is at theDove.us. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being a part of what we do. All right, we'll take a quick break, and we're going to go all the way over to Jerusalem here in just a moment.
Since 1987, Four Seasons Nursery has been the gold standard in the green industry here in Southern Oregon. Tim Albert and his friendly staff continue to offer the best plants and most accurate knowledge to create your dream landscape. At Four Seasons Nursery on Crater Lake Avenue, you can let your imagination run wild with a huge selection of all things plant and gardening for both inside and outside beautification. Whether it's a flower for your window seal, one of our beautifully renowned signature hanging baskets, or a complete landscape design for your entire property, Four Seasons Nursery can help you every step of the way with design services, workshops, and more. Let your imagination run wild as you immerse yourself in their nursery filled with beauty that knows no bounds. Four Seasons Nursery, 5736 Crater Lake Avenue, 5736 Crater Lake Avenue, 1/2 mile north of Vilas Road, 541-779-5603, 541-779-5603.
Hi, Perry Atkinson here. Hey, I wanted to take a few moments to show you what's going on here at the Dove. For the first time in 11 years, we are adding insulation to our building, not only for weather, but for soundproofing here at the airport. And for the first time, we're adding air conditioning to the Dove. So we're asking you to prayerfully consider helping us purchase some much needed equipment during this remodel. Right here, we'd like to install an LED video wall, which will be used on the Dove's morning show. And we can use it to produce some new shows for the Dove in the future. Additionally, we need to replace a firewall server in our IT room, along with upgrading the television software, which runs all the programming on the TV network, along with replacing the morning show audio board. Thank you for being a partner in this unique media ministry. Together, we really are changing lives for good. So you can call anytime at 541-776-5368 or safely and securely online at theDove.us. Thank you.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
It's your time to fly. Let's make it affordable. We are your airport. Fly MFR.
Okay, welcome back, and always honored when we get a few moments to spend with Ruthie Bloom, and a former advisor in the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. She's an award-winning columnist and senior contributing editor to the Jewish News Syndicate, and the co-host with the Israel Undiplomatic there on JNS TV. The website is JNS, which is JewishNewsSyndicate.org, JNS.org. Ruthie, good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you, Perry.
Wow, so much going on over there. Let me just jump ahead a little bit. How is the discussion about a potential bombing of the United States over Iran?
Well, there is a lot of media discussion. Obviously, the Prime Minister's office is not sharing the details of what it's been discussing with the U.S. administration, because this is all very hush-hush. What we know is that President Trump gave a serious warning/threat to the Ayatollah regime in Tehran by saying, you guys have a few weeks to get to the table, negotiating table. We don't want military action, but if you don't, then we're going to unleash something you've never seen before.
Okay, so obviously what I'm hearing you also say is the Netanyahu administration and the Trump administration have to be talking behind the scenes.
No question about it, about everything right now, but especially Iran. We know that Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, who was for years Israel's ambassador to the United States, we know is sort of in charge of negotiations with the United States over the ceasefire hostage release deal with Hamas that has really struck an impasse. Now, what we know, though, also is that Dermer must be discussing with both Steve Witkoff and Trump specifically about Israel's role if necessary, in stopping the Iranian nuclear program. You see, America has said again and again that Iran cannot be allowed to obtain nuclear weapons. And Israel has said this all these years as well. But the difference is that for Israel, Iranian nukes pose a direct threat. First of all, Iran is way closer to Israel than to the United States. Second of all, Iran has threatened, and means it, to wipe Israel off the map. So there's no question that Israel, if the United States doesn't act in this way, and if the nukes aren't stopped, Israel will have to do it, because according to various reports, Iran is extremely close to being able to put nuclear warheads on its missiles.
So am I hearing you say that Israel would take the lead in this attack?
Well, what you're hearing me say is that Israel may have to. I believe that Jerusalem and Washington are coordinating this because this is what we know, all right? This is now what we know that is out in the public, is that President Trump does not want military actions. He's trying to secure peace deals all over the place, especially in the Middle East. We also know that he doesn't want, or Americans don't want, U.S. troops on the ground anywhere. What we also know is that Israel doesn't want the United States to put U.S. troops on the ground in order to defend Israel. So basically, I think that what Israel needs, however, is the kind of weaponry that the United States possesses that Israel doesn't, in order to accomplish this. Now, as I said, this is all speculation, but it's speculation by people, by experts in this field. And again, it's possible that Prime Minister Netanyahu told President Trump that he will wait to see whether Trump's warnings and threats work. And if not, tell him that Israel is willing to bear the brunt of this and take military action. But again, I'm sure that Israel wouldn't do anything without coordinating it with President Trump.
Okay, because the other thing we're reading over here is that some significant military assets, American military assets, have been moved into the area, B-2 bombers and other items, ships and other things that are very much in the zone there, which certainly has got to be intimidating to Iraq. But the president also says that he would probably put tariffs on them that would be devastating. So there seems to be one more move in the middle here for the president to take.
Oh, exactly. And I think that moving those ships and aircraft carriers or whatever, is making his threat credible to Iran. You see, he's saying, look, don't test us. And we're prepared. And we know that Israel is prepared. We don't forget, Israel at the moment is fighting on 7 fronts, and 8 if you count the front of global anti-Semitism, and also internal Israeli strife. But Israel right now is still fighting a war with Hamas in Gaza and with Hezbollah in Lebanon, and making sure that in Syria, the weapons from the toppled Assad regime do not get in the hands of al-Julani, the new head of the Syrian, I wouldn't call it government exactly, but and as I said, we're also getting struck by Houthi missiles every day. That, in fact, the United States has taken on itself to bomb Yemen, to bomb Houthi sites in Yemen. And at the moment, Israel is taking a back seat to that. But Israel is busy on many fronts. And if we have to fight Iran, Iran is the head of the snake after all, and it poses the greatest and most immediate existential danger to the state of Israel.
Okay, so let's take a couple of these one at a time. By the way, since the president has released attack on Houthis there in Yemen, which is so interesting, as you know, the signal flap here with the breakdown there in that chat room. But nonetheless, it wasn't one attack. It's ongoing, isn't it?
It is ongoing. Practically every day we hear about new bombings there, which is why Israel has taken a back seat. Early on in the war against Hamas, when the Houthis began firing missiles, Israel did have to go and bomb the port of Hodeidah in Yemen and things like that. But at the moment, it's the United States taking the lead on that. But that's, by the way, because it's a United States interest. Though the missiles, it doesn't matter. The Houthi missiles are aimed at Israel, right? But the blocking of the Red Sea to commerce is an incredible American interest. So the United States can't allow that.
Okay, so let's come over to Hamas. The ceasefire obviously has been broken, and the penetration into Gaza continues. Give us an update.
Okay, well, as Prime Minister Netanyahu said, that any violation of the ceasefire agreement would be answered with military threats. Now, what happened? Hamas for the last going on almost 4 weeks, there was a ceasefire, but no hostages were released at all. And Hamas is playing games with Steve Witkoff by saying, okay, well, we'll release the American hostage named Idan Alexander and 5 dead or 4 dead American bodies. Hamas was hoping that America would say, okay, great, we'll do that. But nobody agreed to this because what Hamas wanted in exchange was 50 days of a ceasefire and a promise on Israel's part that it would leave Gaza and leave Hamas in power, all kinds of conditions that Israel cannot agree to, nor can the United States agree to those conditions. So they're back to negotiating, but now Netanyahu said, okay, now we're negotiating, you're negotiating with us under fire, not with a ceasefire, but under fire. But even so, Israel is being extremely cautious in Gaza by, first of all, announcing to the population in Gaza where to move out of the way, to get out of harm's way, so that it can bomb targets. And also, Israel is being careful not to harm any of the hostages.
So they know where they are.
Well, there are, I would say we don't know exactly, probably intelligence gathered from captured Hamas terrorists gives an idea. There's also intelligence gathered from released hostages or some sort of intelligence. And soldiers are on the ground there finding, DNA of certain dead hostages, etc. But to say we know exactly where each one is, that I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I think we know what general area. And also we have to be careful, even if we know where they are. The danger is that when the terrorists hear Israeli troops approaching the area, they're likely to execute those hostages. So we have to be extremely careful.
But isn't there a little bit of a shift in Israel's thinking, Netanyahu's thinking, we're going to still press forward with this war? That does put at risk the hostages?
Well, yes and no. It depends whom you ask, because I have to say, I know that most of the world only hears the viewpoint of half of the hostage families. That's also all the left-wing TV channels in Israel only interview those families who say, end the war and bring all the hostages home. First of all, that was never a deal on the table. Hamas never agreed to release all the hostages, number one. Number two, there are other hostage families who say, no, the only way to get Hamas to release those hostages is by putting more military pressure, by squeezing them, by not entering any more humanitarian aid, by shutting off the electricity, by shutting off their water. They need to be scared. They need to feel pressed. And then maybe they will agree, A, to release the hostages, and B, to agree to a deal whereby they're allowed to leave Gaza. The leadership, maybe that's part of the negotiation, whether they'll be allowed to stay alive and leave Gaza or not. The trouble is that so far everything has been sort of in Israel's court. We have to put it in Hamas's court, which is to say, to make Hamas feel pressured, not Israel pressured. We're supposed to be the victors. We are the victors, but Hamas is behaving like the victor.
One other quick question, Ruthie. We've seen some reports where the Palestinians are protesting against Hamas in Gaza. Is that real?
Well, I'll tell you something. It is and it isn't. All right. It is real that many Gazans are fed up with Hamas, and rightly so, because Hamas really is responsible for the devastation that is in Gaza. Not all over Gaza, mind you. There are places in Gaza where there are markets open and people's homes are intact, etc. But where there is rubble, etc., it's true, the Gazans do hold Hamas responsible for starting this war and not realizing what was going to befall the Strip. However, make no mistake, those Gazans, now, first of all, Hamas is interested in having them show the protests. How do we know that? Because if Hamas weren't interested in it, it would have executed every single person who dared step out in the street. That we know. And so far, they've only killed one to sort of use as an example. Now, what we know is that Hamas is pretending, saying, you see, we also have disagreements in Gaza. We also, as if to show the West that Gaza is a normal country or something. But don't make no mistake, those Gazans protesting, they would kill any Jew they found today as well. This is not anything about saying, wow, we made a mistake about wanting to annihilate the Jewish state. No, absolutely not. These Gazans, these civilians, many, many of them participated in the October 7th massacre actively. Many participated in the disgusting display of jeering and cheering as hostages were brought to Red Cross vans. They threw rocks at the vans, etc., and attended these vile ceremonies of releasing hostages who looked like they just emerged from Auschwitz, and also with dead bodies. And those Gazans came out with their little children cheering and jeering. These civilians haven't changed their ideology, their jihadist ideology. They're just disgruntled that their house has, been blown up.
Okay, that's a good point. All right, let me take a quick break. We'll be right back. Go to jns.org. That's the Jewish News Syndicate.org, where Ruthie there is a contributing editor. Check it all out. It is the place to go to get the truth of what's going on over there. We'll be right back.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Spring is around the corner and summer is on its way. With fire danger biting at its heels, flammable blackberries and underbrush will grow like gangbusters and sprout fire danger in no time. A wise property owner knows the best time to take care of fire danger is to extinguish it before it gets started. GMV Forestry, LLC can help you protect your property with adequate firebrush clearing to fireproof a zone around your precious property. With over 35 years experience, GMV Forestry LLC has the knowledge, experience, and all the equipment you need to get the job done right, offering a wide variety of services like mulching, field mowing, snow removal, driveway clearing, ditch cleaning, gravel delivery and spreading, driveway sweeping, logging, and more. GMV Forestry LLC does it all, and they do it right. GMV Forestry LLC, the team you can trust. 541-660-6445. 541-660-6445.
There's a verse that says, always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that you have.
My faith in Jesus Christ means everything to me. Being able to play on this stage, it's all just comes from him.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not with your own understanding.
Our faith and our salvation, that's the one eternal thing that reigns above all.
Watch more inspiring moments like these from this year's Final Four.
Watch the 700 Club Monday morning at 11 on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. Always an honor to have Ruthie Bloom with us today, a former advisor in the office of the Prime Minister there, Benjamin Netanyahu, award-winning columnist, senior contributing editor to the Jewish News Syndicate. She's also a co-host with the Israel Undiplomatic there on JNS TV, and the website is jns.org, and there's the picture of the landing site. That's the place to go to get the truth of what's going on there in Israel. Ruthie, so much things to talk about, so little time. All right, so you got the ceasefire is off the table in Gaza in fighting with Hamas. Hezbollah has lobbed a couple of missiles over. That's still a problem. Syria is probably going to get taken over by Turkey. You got the United States now dealing with Houthis in Yemen. I want to go back to Iran, the head of the snake. It could be, and tell me if this is true, that they could be weeks away from a nuclear weapon, which could preempt anything diplomatic.
Oh, absolutely. My only question about this is, how many years have we been hearing that they're weeks away from from nuclear weapons? That's my only caveat here. Right. Periodically we hear that, in 2 months or 2 weeks or whatever it is. All right. So I really don't know. I do know that now everybody is saying that they are extremely close, and that is thanks to the Biden administration's having refilled their coffers that the first Trump administration had emptied through stepped-up sanctions.
So do you think in the middle of all this there's a regime change in the making as well?
Well, it could be. Although, regime change really should come from within and not from without, okay? So there's no point in, Israel or America trying to bring about regime change. What we know is that the Iranian people are extremely disgruntled. They have been protesting. Now, we've seen that many times before. You'll remember that in 2009, when Obama was inaugurated, the Iranian people were taken to the streets. They were protesting the results of their stolen election. And Obama basically abandoned them and said, no, you had an election, we'll respect it. And then he went to the Middle East and he went to Egypt and he addressed an audience of Muslim Brotherhood. He basically was showing everybody, all the allies in the world, that he was considering jihadists friends of America. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is that periodically the protests erupt in Iran, and then the Ayatollah regime guns them down. Now, what's happening today, it looks more encouraging because it seems that they're getting more out of hand, those protests in Iran, than previously, making it more difficult to gun them all down. But again, we'll see. We don't know. I would look at that with cautious optimism, but it doesn't even matter. What matters is that together with, if we take out the nukes and also the sanctions that Trump says he's imposing on Iran, that helps the Iranian people become more angry, because then their economy is terrible. They're suffering also economically, you see. And then that helps them want to overthrow the regime for that reason, not just because the regime is so oppressive.
So I want to ask this question very carefully. If you look at what Israel's done against Hamas in Gaza, certainly has damaged Hezbollah in Lebanon. Houthis has been knocked around. They took out most of the military bases in Syria, and they've even taken out some military bases in Iran.
Yes.
Is Iran kind of a paper tiger right now?
Well, let's put it this way. We certainly hope so, but you can't bank on that. Not a total paper tiger, because if it were, then it wouldn't be necessary for all of these threats and preparing for war, et cetera. It wouldn't be. Right. What we do know is that Israel severely weakened Iran's air defense systems. And what does that mean? It means that flying over there to do anything, let's say, to bomb the nuclear facilities, becomes much, much easier, because they have no ability to down our planes. And so I would say you need to take advantage of that. But to say they're a complete paper tiger, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. But they are weakened.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay. So how much of a threat now is Hezbollah again?
Well, it's far less of a threat. For one thing, all of their leadership, Israel took out all their leadership. Israel also took out lower commanders in the Beeper operation, tons of terrorists in that, and took out tunnels and terrorists and weapons. The trouble is that Israel keeps finding in Lebanon, the idea was, when we had that ceasefire agreement, the idea was that the Lebanese government was going to police that, was going to take charge and make sure that Hezbollah didn't come towards the Israeli border, et cetera, and didn't fire missiles. And that is really ridiculous. Nobody really believed that the Lebanese army was going to be able to do it or even want to do it. So it's still a threat, but nowhere near the threat that it was. It's much easier now to take out individual rocket launchers and to fire from the direction that the rockets have been fired on northern Israel. But the fact that they're even still breathing is a problem.
Okay. It's only been 90 days since the Trump administration has been in place, but how much of Israel has been reloaded from the United States?
How much is it? Well, we know a lot. First of all, the Trump administration unfroze all those weapons that the Biden administration had been withholding from Israel. Even though it denied doing so, it turns out that was true. And it was almost like an embargo on sending Israel weapons. So the first thing that Trump's administration did was to say, no, those weapons they're on the way over there. And I believe with additional weapons and bunker busters, things like that.
Pretty amazing. So with the isolation of Hamas inside Gaza, does that include cutting the canals off in Egypt? And I only have about a minute.
Look, I don't know. I think one of the troubles here is what the role that Egypt is playing here, because Egypt is playing mediator on the one hand, as is Qatar, and on the other hand, it's been complicit with Hamas to the extent that it looked the other way while Hamas was building all those tunnels and getting weapons and concrete, et cetera, to build tunnels through Egypt, through the Philadelphia corridor. So what is going to happen with, and right now I think Egypt is very nervous because we're demanding that it take a bunch of Gazans into its territory, and it doesn't want to do that.
Not even the children.
No, not even the children, though it did say it would take in some children who needed hospitalization, but no.
Ruthie, thank you. You're always available to us. We value your time greatly. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, jns.org. That's the JewishNewsSyndicate.org. There's a picture of the landing page. That's the place you can go. Thank you, Ruthie. Stay in there, my friend.
Thank you so much, Perry.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out